Alright, I think I am live. Alright. Thank you all for coming back. And alright, let's go. As usual, we'll give a moment for everyone to just get in. And I've really wanted to get back to this. I'm excited to go through more now.
Au manoir, je n'arrêtais pas d'écouter cette voix, la voix de la sorcière que j'étais le seul à pouvoir entendre. J'étais dans les ténèbres.
That's French, isn't it?
Je me noyais.
Oh, my grade 2 French teacher probably, is rolling around in her grave. I learned absolutely no French in any of my classes. Well, I learned a bunch. It just all left my mind. Hey, Mosca.
J'étais dans les ténèbres, et toi seul me prenais en pitié. Je me noyais.
I brought you some food.
Sans essayer de comprendre ta haine.
You had to eat something. You barely touched your food yesterday.
Au manoir, je n'arrêtais
Come on, please.
la voix de la sorcière
Just leave it there.
que j'étais le seul à pouvoir entendre. J'étais dans les ténèbres, et toi
Yeah, this one is just screaming French. Just the way everything sounds. Her hands aren't bound. She can eat whenever she pleases. But she's not going to last much longer. The boy has a point. If she won't eat, we lose our supply of blood. That's not what I meant. Leave it there. Well, we'll be back. Do you really have to go? Yeah, things are pretty hectic right now. And when do you suppose you'll be back? Tomorrow, same time as today. And you'll have enough time to talk then? Will you? Yeah. Are you hiding something from me? You're acting kind of funny. You're my sister, I wouldn't keep anything from you. You're not yourself, though. What's so different about me? Well, you're not acting much like a prince. Ah, right, of course. Don't worry, I'm still your prince. Same as always. Good night, Nellie. My princess. How did I end up in this mess? I never wanted this. It's interesting. As soon as we enter this door, we start from. Well, you know it smells. It smells perspective. All I wanted was a quiet life. Someone to get me out of here. Take this thing somewhere far away. Tell me I'm not the bad one here. Oh God, I'm begging you. Just make it all go away. Someone, anyone, get me out of here. Look. The stars, they're beautiful. Though it's so bright out, I worry someone might see us. Everyone's long gone. I hope so. Are you ashamed? A little, but I still want to be with you. Have you ever considered leaving the convent? You can't just stop being a nun, you know? Tell that to the girl, Julie Dobney. She killed she stole a corpse or she killed someone? Well, she probably stole the corpse, then set the place on fire, then stole her girlfriend away, and then they went around the country dueling assholes and making a bunch of money. Then later, after that fucked up and she got caught, she eventually caught the eye. Was it the King of France? And became an actress. Anyway, she had a cool life. It's not that simple. Oh yeah. There's quite a few people who are ex-nuns who have done the cool things and are really. I made vows, sworn my life to the service of God. I was not aware. I don't know much about this land's traditions. If I were to leave the church, it would have to be in my next life. I'd like to be a normal girl, lead a normal life. Get married, have kids, and before I know it, I'm an old lady. Thinking, it was an uneventful life. But it was the best I could have asked for. That's my dream. Honestly, Mosca, I should probably put together something about former nuns after this, because, I feel like I could talk for that about a while. Also, the music's just... that sounds very peaceful. I hope we can be together in our next lives, too. Have a nice, quiet life together. It'll be a city on the water, looking out over a beautiful, glimmering emerald sea. The blue sky spreading as far as the eye can see. The sound of the seabirds squalling by the port. The two of us sitting shoulder to shoulder, just looking out over the city. Doesn't that sound wonderful? It certainly does. I would love that. The Harvest Festival. On the day of the festival. "3 days until her death." Wake up. Please wake up. Oh, come on. Open your eyes. Michelle. So bright. I'm outside. Tiny Michelle, no, you're actually right. Actually, one thing I do appreciate is this game constantly has played with the interface for the different parts to give it a little different tone, or even to indicate in the fourth and fifth doors it was Giselle or Michelle in her monologue. It's a nice little touches. The first thing I see beyond the mansion's darkness is blinding light. The sun glares mercilessly overhead. A gentle breeze blows past, and I can hear the birds chirping from several different directions. Each breath I take fills my lungs with the scent of earth and grass. So much time has passed since I've been in this light. I almost feel like I'm alive again. No, not almost. What's going on? What on earth? Is this the era Morgana lived? Michelle! Huh? Oh, thank goodness you can hear me. Good morning, Master. I hope you slept well. Giselle, is that voice really you? I swear it's me, 100%. Not that mean old phony. Also, just last chapter when Giselle comes to Michelle and it's like, I I would always love you. It doesn't matter. You're you, and the most important of all, you were not the white-haired girl. You couldn't have been. That is not who you are. Believing in Michelle sometimes more deeply than Michelle even sometimes can believe in himself. No, I believe it's you. I just was not expecting to be able to hear you there. I did say I would always be Barista. It captures a certain feeling of like, am I just crazy? No, it can't possibly be true. That isn't me. Or even compared to other people who are trans or etc. It's just sometimes you can't help but doubt yourself when the entire world doubts you. I would love you even if you had a tiny portrait LWI. I mean, look at the two of them. They're so cute. Ah, Sissy, oh, I'm relieved. But where are you, Giselle? I can't see you anywhere. Well, I'm not exactly sure myself. You don't know? I don't know how to describe it. It's pitch dark all around me. Like a black smoke churning in the darkness. It feels a lot like inside the mansion. But I don't think I'm actually in the mansion. So you're still trapped in the void then. I can see a shimmering light off in the distance, through the fog. I can hear sounds coming from that direction. It's like the outside world is leaking through the light. I can see the trees rustling, hear birds singing. I can't see you though, so I assumed I was seeing through your eyes. And I thought I'd try to get your attention. So that means you can see everything I can. Seems so. Though I don't think I can see quite as clearly as you. I wish you could be here to feel this too. Experience it in my place even. It's a bizarre sensation. Well, I could see and feel the world through the other doors. It was strictly in the capacity of an observer. We were merely watching, not actually present in the tales. But this time, it's like I've been resurrected and dropped into a world as a participant. It's all so vivid. Everything the mansion lacked. It's all here, and I can feel it so clearly. I wish you could have been the one to experience this. It's okay, Michelle. I know you'll dispel this darkness in them. Won't you? I will. I'm more than happy just being able to hear your voice. And being able to see what you see. It's like a miracle. I too am glad to know you're there. To have the chance to hear your voice again. Thank you so much for saving me. If you hadn't shown up, I wouldn't be here. Oh no, I should be thanking you. I was overjoyed to learn how much you really cared about me. There's so many things I want to say right now. So many things I want you to know. So many thank yous. And so many I love yous. Hey now, is that really the best response you got? Surely you can do better than that. You're embarrassing me. I am somewhat disappointed by one thing though. I can't get any hugs or kisses since I'm not there in person. Oh come on, you're not very good at this, are you? And you're not very good at picking up how much you're embarrassing me. I'd expect at the very least, me too. We should start by figuring out when and where exactly this is. You're not even trying, are you? I'm doing the best I can. Please don't ask any more than this of me. It's okay though, I might not be able to see you, but we're together either way. You know, Michelle, I think I might be able to help too. Well, I can't be there in person, I can give you ideas, another point of view when you're not sure about something. But the two of us together will find a way through this. Yes, we will. Where to begin? What do you say we get our bearings? List out exactly what we need to take care of. That's not a bad idea. I'm a bit frazzled at the moment, to tell you the truth. Well, why? I had assumed we'd just be observers, just like with other doors, searching their memories for clues. Never expected I'd actually be thrown into their era. True, it's not at all like the other doors. No matter how the rules may change, I'm seeing this through to the end. If our guess is correct and we have arrived at Morgana's past, then we need to uncover the truth behind those events. Or rather, the three men's circumstances. What they felt, what drove them. My gut tells me there's something to be found there that even Morgana doesn't know. I could be wrong, and it's possible that even if I am right, what we find won't do anything to quell her hatred. But we won't be talking her out of it, that's for sure. Words won't break through that kind of animosity. We need something bigger. Something she could have never imagined. Something that will turn her entire worldview on its head. The white-haired girl might be a good place to start. She showed up at the mansion again and again, as though led there by some supernatural force. And she is involved with all three of the men in some way. I can't think of anyone else with such deep ties to both the mansion and the men. But at the same time, I have a hard time convincing myself that Morgana we know and the white-haired girl could be the same person. They're about as different as two people can be. Which actually leads me to believe there's something there. There must be something. Some secret we haven't figured out yet that we can use. So let's find it. It won't be easy. If we're in the past, though, I wonder maybe if we could change it. This could be a huge chance for us. Change the past. Yeah, we could prevent Morgana's death, or we could stop whatever led them down this path. There's an idea. If it's actually possible, maybe we can do something. The question is this world really? I'm getting kind of pumped. I've got my game face on and I'm ready to do this. Doesn't do much good if no one can see it. It's a figure of speech. Okay. First, we need to find the mansion. Morgana should be at the top of the observation tower. And the three men shouldn't be too far off either. So the question is, where are we? Do you recognize the surroundings at all? I never really left the mansion, so I'm not especially familiar with the lay of the land. Give me a little spin, would you? As she requests, I slowly spin around in a circle. And through the dense woods, I spot a cluster of what appears to be stone formations. Squinting to get a better look, I realize they're buildings. It's decently far off, but it appears to be the edge of a city. I think that might be the village I stayed at for a while. It's a bit big for a village. Don't you remember what Amadei said about the village's history? Amadei, that bastard. Neat goes outside and tries to find checkpoints and towers. Michelle, you didn't think something uncharacteristically vulgar just now, did you? Wouldn't dream of it. Yes, I remember. You said it was once much larger. And that it was destroyed in a single week by the witch's curse. Except rather than a curse, it was probably disease. If that's the same city, then fits with what Morgana said happened. I believe he also said something about there being a large bridge on the outskirts of the city. And that following the path from there would lead to the mansion. So let's head down to the city. Alright. You don't sound very enthusiastic. Are you nervous you might have to talk to someone? Oh shit, Michelle having to talk to another human being other than Giselle. Don't worry, you got me here. Don't treat me like I'm antisocial. You're not? No, that's not what's bothering me, it's Something about this whole thing feels off. This world we're in. Never mind. I'm probably overthinking things. But now's not the time for that. We need to get moving. Let's go. Rather than waste time fretting over details. There's something about how they occasionally just like squabble over things or annoyed at each other, etc., that helps ground their relationship as otherwise overly beautiful and fantastic as it is. We need to get to the mansion, like she said. Everything else comes after that. With each step, I can feel the earth compressing beneath my feet, the grass flattening. As I weave my way through the trees toward the city, the sensation of having a living flesh and blood body slowly returns. And here he is. A white-haired man just appeared out of nowhere. And he's talking to himself. I gotta get away here before he does something. Hold it right there, Mel. You don't get to call me crazy, then just run off. How do you know my name? It's Mosca. You know what the worst part of it is? How does Yukimasa have the most game about out of all the men in this visual novel? How does Yukimasa of all people actually thinking about it? Bestia, really the bestia, I guess. We were just in the mansion together. Jacopo had some for like... Okay, but Jacopo was like one moment with in a kistoscope. In between like 30 minutes on either side of negative game. No, really? Mansion? What are you talking about? Right, he hasn't become the shadow in the mansion yet. I doubt we'll forget seeing someone as unusual as you. Who are you? And where did you come from? Where, I'd like to know that myself. Say something, Michelle! He's not getting any less suspicious of you. You have to come up with some way to break the tension. Improvisation isn't exactly my strong suit. So, there's a clearly correct answer here. If someone asks you if you're a god, it's you tell them you're a god. So we're gonna go with the wrong option. It sure looked like you just popped out of nowhere. You imagined it. It was so sudden your mind misinterpreted what you saw. Is that too much of a stretch? Yeah, you're right. I must have been seeing things. People just can't appear out of thin air. Nice days like this, sometimes climb a tree and take a nap too. And then roll over and fall flat on my face. So I can relate. Michelle napping in a tree. Can't even imagine it. Me neither. Also, it seemed that, like Morgana, I'm the only one who can hear Giselle's voice. But that doesn't explain how you know my name. I am, You look a lot like an acquaintance of mine. Yeah, Maria. I actually think about it, all the women are pretty good. Other than the white hair girl, and she just falls into relationships. You look a lot like acquaintance of mine. Imagine my surprise when it turns out you have the same name too. That's definitely pushing it. Oh yeah, that happens to me every now and then too. Jeez, you had me spooked for a second there. Well, on one hand, I'm glad he bought it, but I feel like perhaps he's being a little too trusting. He's the kind of guy who just keeps on walking when he runs across something out of the ordinary, pretending he didn't see a thing. Not the most admirable of traits, but we're in the clear. I assume you're from the city then, if you're out of here. Actually, no, I'm a wanderer of sorts. Oh, did you come by to see the Harvest Festival then? Harvest Festival? You don't know about it then? 3 days from now, we're holding a festival at the church to celebrate the spring harvest. 3 days. Morgana died when the bell tolled noon on the day of the festival, which means she's got that much time left. This will be the first time we've held the festival, so we're hoping to make it a big event. Something really memorable. Although Moscow... Maria was also... I feel like that went past innuendo and subtlety like so hard with when she was talking to the white hair girl. And a young girl is dying behind the scenes of this seemingly pleasant celebration. I mean, it's so memorable. People keep talking about the event well into the future. Could I ask you to show me the way to the church? I would like to join in on the festivities. Sure, yeah, of course. The church's doors are open to all, friends, family, and wanderers alike. It's not far, follow me. Thank you. Didn't occur to me until now, but this really is a strange experience. This is a boy from a completely different time period. He would have never had the opportunity to meet. If he's here, then presumably the other two are as well. Which means Morgana's wish for their reconstruction was actually granted. The smell doesn't seem like any different a person than the one I observed through the first door. Yet he played a part in Morgana's imprisonment. I have trouble believing he would voluntarily involve himself, though. I was scared for a minute there. That could have gone a lot worse. Plus, we managed to make contact with Mel in record time. She's interacted with them and the others before, so I guess this doesn't feel strange to her. You don't want to hear him to hear you talking to yourself again. That's why you're not saying anything to me, isn't it? Actually, I think I can talk to you without speaking. Can you hear me? How are you doing that? I have a lot of experience talking to ghosts. That really drives home how bizarre things were for you in that mansion. Were you not in similar circumstances when it was you and Morgana together? Yeah, now that you mention it, what a bizarre time we both had in that mansion. You're just now realizing this. So what's your impression of him? My impression that he's the same Mel as always? In a little more detail? He's an amicable young man. Nice enough to show a complete stranger, right? I agree. In Morgana's version of the story, he betrayed her. But he doesn't seem like the kind of person who would enthusiastically do something so malicious. He had to have had some reason, and we need to figure out what that was. The question is, how do we go about it? We hardly have enough time to earn his trust and convince him to tell us himself. We'll just have to put the knowledge I already have to good use. Oh, that reminds me. Something that might explain it? No, about Morgana. When you were alive, she was always right there with you, like I am now, right? Whenever struck her fancy, yes. She didn't seem to care when or where. She would just start talking whenever she felt like it. Whenever? For the most part, yes, anytime she wanted. Giselle, you don't have to worry about that with me. I know when to keep my mouth shut, promise. What? You said you feel like you're alive again, right? My five senses all seem to be in working order. Which means you'll also be getting hungry, tired, sleepy, and you'll have to go to the bathroom. I'll be polite and close my eyes and plug my ears while you're doing it. Thanks. Whoa, possessor, bring that up. Does she even realize what she's saying? Oh gosh, now I'm red as a tomato. That answers that. Moving right along. We need to discuss how we're going to go about this. Right, that. The horse festival's our deadline, which doesn't give us very much time. We need a plan for when we arrive at the mansion. How will we spill their secret? Tell everyone about the girl they locked up in the tower and force them to set her free. Surely they wouldn't stand for that. Perhaps would anyone believe me? If I walked in and said I came from the future, and I know what's going to happen, would anyone actually buy that? Sure, with enough convincing. Even if I did manage to convince them the tower door was locked in Morgana's rendition of the tale. You need 3 keys to get inside. Mel should have one of them, but stealing us alone won't be enough to get into the tower. True. If Giselle is right and we can save Morgana and change the future, then that would indeed solve everything. But something about this whole situation doesn't sit right with me. I have to do more than just set her free of that tower. I have to find the truth as well, as I initially set out to do. Regardless, I'd like to try to stay on everyone's good side as much as possible for now. Okay, I'll do whatever I can to help. I appreciate it. I mean, as you know, conversation's not exactly my strong suit. Which means it's my job to hit the brakes whenever you say something stupid. It's a bit too late if I've already said it. Anyway, step 1 is to get ourselves into the mansion. We can't hope to make contact with the other 2 men, much less get Morgana out of there, if we're not staying nearby. I'll do what I can. We're almost there. See the big building in the distance? That's the church. It is the same mansion as I suspected. Sick now, knowing what horrible things have happened here. It's so disheartening. Are happening as we speak. And the tower we see in the distance. Morgana's locked off, all alone. I wish we could just march in there and set her free. If getting to the tower were our only goal, we could probably force her way in with a little work. Is something the matter? Well, I could probably overpower him and get his key. Hello? But the other 2, that almost certainly wouldn't work. Or... Can you hear me? Oh yes, sorry, I was lost in thought. Seems kind of strange, doesn't it? What does? I mean, it doesn't look much like a church. At a glance, you'd think it was some noble's estate. Ah, so it does. It's been so long, there it never even occurred to me. I was pretty surprised when I first saw it myself. A peculiar place, all told. There's a chapel inside the mansion with this gorgeous stained glass window. It's quite the sight. Fuck them kids, says Michelle. Do you know why it was built like that? I'm not actually sure myself now. Anyway, I'll show you the chapel. The Saintess should be there too, so I can introduce you. The Saintess. You never heard of her? Everyone around here knows her. She's a nun of the church and everyone calls her the Saintess. She's practically her own religious figure. Oh, he's not talking about Morgana. You just have to see it for yourself. Come on. Alright. On our way to the mansion, we passed through a courtyard of sorts. When I lived here, the area was overgrown with weeds. Apparently, they keep it in better condition in this area. Following Mel's lead, we head through the chapel's entrance. Oh my. I'm at a loss for words when I see what lies on the other side of the all familiar doors. What was barely recognizable as a place of worship in my memory, just 2 columns of battered pews and some piles of rubble. The room I'm looking at now is unequivocally a chapel. So this is what it used to look like. I wonder how far back this is from when we lived. It has to be more than a decade or 2. Maybe 100 years or more. The views and beliefs about the world prevalent in our time are not so different than those of this. Perhaps the chapel was destroyed in the aftermath of the Harvest Festival. When I was first sent to the mansion, there were signs that repairs had been attempted. The stained glass window is behind the pulpit. I'm guessing that we can't see it from here. And right next to it is a door to the observation tower. Ah, there she is. There's no priest here, she runs the church. You'll want to talk to her first if you're planning to participate in the Harvest Festival. I'll go fetch her for you. So you see, I remembered a different decision. So let's just go back and say that we're a god right now. I can no longer do that. So Michelle's a very grumpy person who would absolutely say fuck them kids, but he is also too nice and too weak. I think a kid could probably beat him in a fight. Yes, because I misremembered that as one of the other decisions we're going to be getting later. Where we say something very similar, and it's the correct option. Returning with the nun in tow. When I see her, my face twists for a brief moment. Good afternoon. You came to see the festival, I hear. It's wonderful to have you. Is that who I think it is? I'm all but certain at this point that all the major players from behind the 3 doors are present here. Not just the 3 men whose shadows remain in the mansion, but also the women who are important parts of their lives. Though dressed differently, the way she speaks and the way she holds herself resembles the woman killed by her lover behind the 2nd door. They're all connected. What we thought were 3 separate tales, all stretch back to a single point in time before our own. No, I was just thinking how unusual it is for one nun to manage an entire church all by herself. Ah, yes, that's the usual reaction from new visitors. Even I think this assignment's a bit over my head. Yeah. As far as we can tell, they never hurt Morgana. There were reasons for part of the reason sometimes what the men did, but you can't blame that on them. And most importantly, Morgana's basically just torturing them for no reason, just to cause more suffering for the people who actually hurt her. They do. There's a lot there as well. For example, there's the whole deal with the Saintess and being someone getting the sort of recognition and the sort of things she wanted out of her own life when she was a child, right? While she's trapped up and essentially benefiting from like her blood. There's a specific way of Mel choosing his sister over her and etc. And there's just so much there about how they relate to her, etc. Yep, she gave so much to help Nellie. I was at another church before this one. A smaller building, and I wasn't the only nun. But the Lord of the Land ordered me to transfer to a new, larger church. He was opening. So here I am. That wasn't a conscious decision. We have to remember that Morgana doesn't believe the white-haired girl is herself and doesn't have any control over that, and assumed that was just Michelle. The suffering she's inflicting on herself is accidental. But there is something there. You're right. The Lord. There's plenty of space on the property, more than enough to provide shelter for orphan children, aid for the sick. It seems rather vacant from what I've seen. Yes, about that. We used to take people in, but circumstances have made that difficult of late. What kind of circumstances? It's not something I can discuss with an outsider, sorry. I'm guessing it has to do with Morgana's imprisonment here. Do you think she knows about Morgana? I would guess not. The men swore to keep it between the three of them. She's being forced to oversee the mansion completely oblivious of what's happening here. Which isn't she's not connected to in some way. If she's the girl from the second tale, then she should be close with. Is something troubling you? No, my apologies. I got lost in thought. You don't look it, but you're actually a bit of a daydreamer, aren't you? Daydreamer? No, it fit that description much better. What? Why do I really look like that much of an airhead? Yes. Oh, I can see that. Someone has to watch out for him, or he's likely to lose his head in the cloud. I really don't think I'm that spacey. I'm not trying to say you're spacey, I just feel like I gotta keep one eye on you at all times. It's a lot like what I imagine having a little brother would be like. I'm an oldest child, you know. Oh, what's the big deal? You don't want a big sister? Well, I want you to be my little brother. I don't want to just be a capital S sister to you. That's so stiff and formal. No, I want to be your sister's sister. I'm a little old to be playing make-believe. Oh, come on. They're quite friendly with one another, it seems. Oh, I know. Why don't you become her brother, then? What? Will you? I will not. Besides, I'm clearly the oldest one here. Why not? I don't think it matters who's older than who. You don't really act all that old anyway. I have at least 10 years on you. Your youngest child's insecurity showing. What? Insecurity? You two are pretty good friends, huh? We can discuss the veracity of that claim later. I'd like to ask you a favor. What is it? I'll gladly help with anything I can. Could I perhaps borrow a room until the day of the Harvest Festival? I don't have anywhere to stay. Or source of income for that matter. I know it'd be taking advantage of your generosity, but I only mean to intrude for a few days. I would be more than happy to offer you a place to stay at any other time. But right now, I can't let you stay here. I'm so sorry. Well, damn, so much for that. Don't let one little no stop you. Keep pushing. Put on a show, earn her sympathy. She's a lady with a claw. If you make her feel bad for you, she'll offer you her egg. Put on a show you expect me to act? I'm having another episode. I was so sure this church would be able to help. That's not gonna convince anyone. Quiet you. He was perfectly fine on our walk here. Shut your mouth, boy. As I said, we did once offer a place of respite for the ailing and needy. But regrettably, for the time being, we're unable to take anyone in. What I can do, though, is give you medicine. Since we can't let people stay here with the Lord's generous assistance, we've been handing out medicine instead. So all you do here is give people medicine. Yes, I suppose that's what it boils down to. I'm honestly not sure why we're not allowed to offer shelter right now. But we are still able to provide assistance to those in need, so... I assume it's just a temporary measure and we'll be able to take people in again before long. And with how much he's done for the church, it's not really my place to complain about decisions. I truly am sorry. I hope you understand. I'm supposed to ask for the tithe in exchange normally, but just this once, it's yours free of charge. Could you tell me more about this medicine, please? It's called Saint's Blood, and it'll cure any disease. Saint's Blood? It's not real blood, of course. It's just what it's called. It sure sounds divine, doesn't it? No, that's not true. Huh? It is real blood. What do you... sorry to butt in. Do you mind if I bring him back to my room? I don't think I mentioned it, but he's an old friend of mine. We've got a lot of catching up to do. Alright. Hey, come on, this way. Well, that sure got quite a reaction on him. Now he's incredibly leery of you. When she mentioned the blood, I couldn't stop myself. I probably should have kept my mouth shut, though. Mel doesn't say a word the entire way. His smile has retreated, and there's a hint of fear lurking beneath his now stony expression. I spend the trek through the mansion's corridors pondering how to answer the questions I know are coming. How to solve the problem I put myself in. We enter a bedroom, presumably his, and he closes the door behind us. I can see the distrust in his eyes as he glares at me. I have to ask. Who exactly are you? Why did you say that back there? That Saint's blood is actual blood. In his response to his pressing eye. This time I will remember to choose the option that gets us horribly murdered. I know Mel feels immense remorse about his involvement in Morgana's imprisonment, so I decided it's best to tell him everything. His shade in the mansion begged for me to save him. If he knows what I know, maybe this Mel will seek my help as well. Perhaps I'm being rash, but it's worth a shot. Alright, I'll tell you everything. It might sound crazy, but I promise you, everything I'm about to tell you is the truth. I'm not from this time. What? I've come here from a point in time after Morgana's death. How do you know about... I know everything. Morgana told me what happened here. What will happen here. You and 2 other men imprisoned her at the top of the observation tower, eventually leading to her death. At this point in time, she should still be alive, but she will not be for much longer. When the bell tolls noon on the day of the Harvest Festival, Morgana's life will end. Will come to an end. And when she dies, she will do so in the grips of overwhelming hatred. A hatred that will transform her soul into a true witch. The 3 of you will become the targets of that hatred, the targets of her curse. And by the power of that curse, you will be drawn back to this place in your next lives, where great suffering and misery awaits you. Everything you're saying is going right over my head. Our next lives are so a witch. Every word of it is true. Did anything I say contradict your experiences? The three of you have Morgana imprisoned in the tower. You drained her of her blood, which then you claim is a medicine called Saint's Blood, which you give out in exchange for tithes. Am I wrong about any of this? I am here to save Morgana, to set her free of that tower and her hatred, which will consequently set your souls free as well. I really like the distinction that it has nothing to do with helping Mao or Yukimasa or Jacopo. It's for Morgana. I know you're not proud of what you've done. Lend me your hand in freeing Morgana. And tell me your story. Tell me how you came to be involved in her imprisonment. This is not the path you wish to take, I'm certain of that. You wanted blood for your sister, yes. But you're not the kind of man who would think severing another's arm was acceptable. You had to have had some reason for it. Please give me your assistance. Tell me your tale. Saving her will save you too. I only want what's best for you. Could you give me a moment? This is all so sudden. I'm having trouble wrapping my head around this. But I do get one thing, that you know what we've been doing. Give me some time to process it. I'll have an answer for you tonight. Please, I'll make the right decision. I just need time to convince myself. I understand. Wait here until I come back with you. It's almost sundown, so it shouldn't be long. Tonight I'll tell you what I can. Once I've made sense of everything, I'm sure I'll be able to shake hands. So just relax here for a bit. I'll be waiting. Thanks. See you tonight. Tonight. Well, he seemed to believe it. Thankfully, I was worried he wouldn't. I knew he wasn't happy being a part of this. He desperately wanted out. It's interesting seeing, one of the purported pillars of Western justice is boast, and as bad of a word if he's using Western is concerning, how cultures evolve, blah 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 blah. We're skipping over some stuff there. Is the idea of innocent till proven guilty, and Japan culturally has even more expectation of guilty until proven innocent in a lot of cases than say America has. We could talk about the whole idea of forgiveness and cultural associations with Buddhism and the whole spider silk parable. There's a lot of stuff there, actually. I can only hope. He said he'd help, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt and see what happens when he comes back. Perhaps I'm just being paranoid, but it feels like that went over too easily. No, I made the right decision. Hello, are you there? May I come in? You may. Yeah, and that's true in multiple cultures. Of that's a pretty common thing, actually. Sorry it took so long. Not all. You did say it'd be a night when. What? Also, his face. Is this the man? Never seen him before. You. It's them. What's the meaning of this smell? Where the hell did you get your information? Michelle, I came from the future. My time Morgana's already dead. I'm here to set her free, Therese. You spilled it, Mel, didn't you? No, I didn't. Why do you think I told you about it? So you'd know it didn't come from me. I can't believe he... Mel, how could you? What happened to everything you said earlier? That you'd make the right decision. And Mel, he always purports to try to do the right thing and assuage his guilt, etc. Constantly throughout even the first door, but he always takes whatever's the easiest path towards anything. For the 1000th time, I met him in the forest this afternoon. I had never seen him before then. Then who told him? It wasn't me. I have nothing to gain from talking. Sure enough. He's just messed up in the head, that has to be it. He has all these crazy delusions. Souls turning to witches the next life. He's mad, I tell you. I thought he believed in us. Mel, am I wrong that you feel remorse? Am I wrong that you don't want to be involved in this? You shouldn't be adding to your list of wrongdoings. No, you should be doing what you know is right and let Morgana go. Are you sure you're not friends? I swear to God, if he was a friend, why would I snitch on him? You're not one to let friendship get in the way of what you truly desire. I would never. Michelle, we have to get out of here. If he so much as twitches like he's gonna run, cut him in half. Michelle. Maybe you'll come to your senses if you know exactly how what you're doing will affect your next lives. Morgana comes to bear such an incredible loathing for each of you, that the people you care for, who pray tells, lives fearing how it will affect their next. You're right, he's out of his mind. Listen, you chose the wrong man for your little sermon. Next life, souls. God damn it. How can I get them to believe me? I've seen it all, but they don't have any of those memories. How can I convince them to believe something that hasn't even happened to them yet? How can I get them to release Morgana? How can I save her? Michelle, please, you have to run. You're in danger here. I'd love to, but the door's blocked. So tell me, who told you about Morgana? Morgana herself. Who told you? I'm telling the truth. I know what I know because she told me. I suppose it doesn't matter where you got your information. Getting rid of you still means one less person who knows. Michelle! Kill him. Don't. Can I play with him first? No, do it quickly. I'm tired of listening to this madman's ramblings. No, please don't do this. We're only here to save your souls. Because we believed you weren't truly evil. So why? Oh, alright. I'm not happy about it, though. You're putting more than just your next lives at risk. You'll lose the people you care about in this life, too. People are going to die on the day of the Harvest Festival. Many people are going to die. You may be able to avoid that if you set her free. And also change your own fates as well. I can't listen to this anymore. Kill this madman now. Don't, please. I'm begging you, don't. It really is a damn shame. I was hoping I'd have some fun with you. Michelle! It happens in the blink of an eye. The man steps forward and the moment his sword is out of its sheath, I'm toppling backwards. Michelle, no, Michelle, no, why? No, please, no, this can't be. Michelle, say something, Michelle, please. Michelle. And the three men watch. I make a heavy thud against the cold wall. You clean up the mess, Mel. The last thing I want is the damn not suspecting anything. Don't you vomit, boy. Make any more of a mess and just be joining him. All three of their voices are growing muted now. As my vision grows red, I realize I can see my own body off in the distance. What pains me most, though, is that Giselle had to witness that too. But everything's slipping away from me so quickly. I don't have time to come up with anything to say before it all goes black. Yeah, we have a bunch of dead ends, and I don't think I'm gonna be doing all this. We don't have much time, but it's in the best interest to tread carefully. There's too much we don't know yet. It would not be wise to make a rash decision. With him as tense and suspicious as he is right now, it won't be easy to get his key or persuade him to tell us how he ended up here. Furthermore, my experience with the three shades tell me that if I'm not careful, I could be putting myself in unimaginable danger. A brief flash of what might have happened had I spoken too soon crossed my mind, sending a chill down my spine. If I want to get Mel on my side, I'm going to need something more, something decisive. Something that'll convince him he needs to come clean and set Morgana free. Regardless, being cautious isn't going to mean much if I can't get them to let us stay in the mansion. We need to be nearby to keep an eye on things, gather information. How to go about that, though? Assuming he's not voluntarily involved. Unless anyone else in chat really wants to see it. If so, I will oblige. He'll work with us? Perhaps. Being so direct will only invite more suspicion. But she's probably on the right track. When I met his shadow, I was burdened with great regret. He begged me to help him. A remark about the saint's blood was based on a story I once heard about a person whose blood was said to have healing properties. Stories? Maybe they haven't made it out this far, I don't know. But they tell of a girl born in a distant village, a saint and the daughter of God. I thought that perhaps the nun might be the saint spoken of in the stories, and I was hoping for the opportunity to see a miracle performed with my own eyes. I have to say, you look more angry than excited. I didn't hide it very well, I guess. Maybe it appeared that way to you, but I have a very friendly face. If you say so. As long as you're telling the truth. I myself have to wonder, why did my remarks seem to bother you so much? What? Is there something more to this saint's blood than you're telling me? No. Something that would make you want to get me alone and interrogate me? There's nothing. I just, didn't want to scare anyone with all the dark bloods, and there's not actually any in it. I didn't know about the story, so. It's just medicine, I swear. As you say, it's got nothing to do with the saint in your stories. To change the subject, could I ask you to convince the nun to allow me to stay here? Weren't you listening? We can't take anyone in right now. Which is why I'm asking for your recommendation. You live on the premises, don't you? I'm more a supervisor of sorts. Then you should have some say in the matter. Why? Until the Harvest Festival is all I'm asking. Why not get a room in an inn? If you need money, I'll spare you some coin. I must stay in this mansion. But why? Those are my instructions. What? You know the stained glass window in the chapel behind the pulpit? I was named after the Archangel Michael depicted there. The angel came to me in a vision, instructing me to watch over the festival here. From where you were standing, you couldn't possibly see the window in that much detail. You couldn't... Oh, I get it. You've been to the church before and you're just acting like you haven't. There's a metal door off to the side leading to an observation tower. Yeah, you can see the tower from outside. Inside is a long spiral staircase. Not made of stone, but wood. There's a single door at the top of the stairs. How? What are you really here for? All that vision stuff is a lie. I'm not here to cause you any trouble. In fact, I'm on your side. You show up out of nowhere, and you expect me to believe your nonsense? All I ask for you is to allow me to stay until the day of the festival. If you can do that for me, then I'll make you the promise I could not before. I have not forgotten your pleas of salvation. I know you want to be free. Let me guess, you saw that in a vision too. If you want to call it that, then you can. I never once asked for you to save me. You're mad. But fine. I've got nothing to hide anyway. If you say you're a friend, the Saintess should be willing to If I say you're a friend, the Saintess should be willing to accommodate you. Wait, I already told you were my friend, didn't I? I'll try and persuade her. I don't know what your deal is, but try not to cause any trouble, okay? For your own sake. I won't. Only until the festival. You're not getting another day out of me or her. And this isn't your home, so don't act like it is. Of course. Thank you. You know, I never did get your name. It's Michelle. Ah, right, after the Archangel Michael. Just like you said. I never really cared much for Michael, to be honest. He weighs your soul in one hand on his perfectly balanced scales, then delivers its punishment with a sword in his other. He's not an angel of salvation. Out of curiosity, could you perhaps be? No, never mind. It's turned into a bit of a storage area, but there's an open room you can use. I'll show you the way. I appreciate your courtesy. Well, this is just lovely. The cracks in the ceiling and the walls peeling off. There's a bed at least, but it's coated in dust. This was a storeroom when I lived here, as I recall. Sorry about the condition. I didn't choose a bad room for you on purpose, I promise. If you want to sleep somewhere more comfortable, you're not going to find that here. Not a problem, I'm grateful to have a room at all. If you say so. Well, I have work to do, so I should be on my way. I'll talk to the Saintess as promised. I imagine she'll make supper for you at some point. But do keep your crazy talk to yourself around her. I'll make a note of it. Thank you. See you. We made it work somehow. Somehow. It's a lot of pressure being under that much suspicion, huh? My heart was pounding the whole time. And that, the Archangel Michael came to me in a vision. Stuff. I never expected you to go there. Why'd you tell him that anyway? Because I didn't think telling him I know the future and I need your help to change it would have gone over very well. Besides, those who yearn for redemption have a tendency to latch onto the spiritual. I thought taking advantage of that would work to our benefit. You know, I bet you make a pretty good con artist, Michelle. Uh-huh. I did what I thought was necessary. I know. Besides, you have every intention of keeping your promise, don't you? Whether or not Mel could be saved is up to him. Actually, Mosca, do you know what the earliest time travel story is? Like, my bet's probably like 1800s, maybe? But I wouldn't be surprised if we had one, like, way, way, way back when. Whether or not Mel can be saved up is up to him. I will lend him my hand, though. No, you say it's all on him, but deep down, you know you're on his side. It can't be the time machine. We're complete strangers to this now. But I can't bring myself to think of him that way. We just met today, but it feels like reuniting with an old friend. He's the same old Mel. And you were actually there, a part of his life. Which I imagine makes the sentiment all the stronger. You don't feel the same way? I don't think of him as a total stranger now. However, nothing. I was about to say something incredibly cynical, but I caught myself. What? It's nothing, don't worry about it. If you say so. Also, hey Evie! I just realized this was your first mention. I was always the one with nothing to offer. Powerless to be of anyone's help. So if anything's motivated me, it's not concern for the boy, but a desire to prove that someone like me can do something. It didn't take much arm twisting to get him to give us a room, so who knows, maybe he'll come over to our side easier than either of us expect. Hey, him giving us a room was not something out of kindness. Keeping me nearby allows him to keep an eye on me. He doesn't trust me, but he doesn't know enough about me to decide what to do yet. He needs time, and doing this gives him that time. If he decides keeping me around is not to his advantage, he will act accordingly. Do you really think he'll do anything to hurt you? Mel's a kind boy, and, well, to be frank, I don't think he has a spine for it. It's hard to say, but even if he doesn't, we still have the other two men to worry about. Nevertheless, his cooperation will undoubtedly be the easiest of the three to gain. We were fortunate to run into him first. What makes you say that? Did you even ever have a chance to see the shadows trapped in the mansion? Shadows? I might have, but around the time Hayden Rhodes passed away, I wasn't really there anymore. I stopped thinking, stopped trying to make sense of the things inhabiting the house. I had become merely another part of the cursed mansion. So, I was only able to converse with them after I'd reclaimed myself. I suppose much like the rules differ between the realms of the living and the dead, so too do they differ for those who have lost grip on reality. I was searching for a way to get you out of the tower. I encountered and spoke with 3 men's shadows. Of the 3, Mel was the least threatening. He bears a great deal of regret. He yearns for someone to save him. I heard him muttering, "This isn't what I wanted." He doesn't want to be involved in this. Someone else is holding the reins. My first guess would be the Lord, but regardless, if they're not equals in this endeavor, if he wants out, then maybe he would have agreed to help if we told him we're here to save Morgana. Carelessly revealing her hand at this stage didn't seem wise. It would have never gone to the point if it were so easy to stop. So I guess our first task is to earn Mel's trust. Morgana's death is in 3 days. We have until then to get all 3 keys. It won't be easy. I mean, we weren't even present in this world until today. Exactly. We have no one to vouch for us. No one who even knows who we are. But we have knowledge. Quite a bit of it, in fact. We not only know what happens to Sarah, but she showed me their next lives as well. From that, we can deduce how they might behave and to whom they have ties. You're right, we do. We know things we should have no way of knowing. And we can use that knowledge to our advantage. There are various interpersonal relationships where we can get our edge, I think. They each have their reason for locking Morgana up, and if I'm right, they're doing it for other people. It's these powerful bonds driving us. Mel's driving force would be his sister, for instance. Are they merely bonds, or it is fate that ties them together? You're right, we should find and talk to his sister. Mel's more like that if it's coming from her than us. I agree if his darling sister tells him to stop, he won't have any reason to continue his involvement. Knowing how the first tale ended makes me slightly uncertain. For now, we can work under the assumption that he does genuinely care for her. What do you want to bet? She's somewhere nearby. I mean, she will be. It was her death that sparked the chaos on the day of the Harvest Festival. Ah, right, it was. No, you're exactly right. But what I was going to say is that people tend to keep those they care most about close by. Ah. It appears I have a bad tendency to focus too much on the facts. That was entirely unnecessary of me. Giselle did not need to be reminded of that. I'm sorry. Huh? What for? For being careless with my words, inconsiderate. No need to apologize for the truth. Besides, you inconsiderate are like oil and water. And today you're the fire to my oil. We have 3 days to stop this tragedy. Let's get to work. Let's. We'll probably have more luck asking than just searching for her. We can't find Mel, the nun, right now. Off we go. Ah. As I step into the chapel, I see an old man waving to the nun as he heads to the door. The man is practically beaming and judging by the violence hand. He's happy about more than simply having a chance to see him. Is that saint's blood? According to Morgana's account, a disease began spreading through the city at the Harvest Festival, eventually eradicating the population. In a time like this, where medical knowledge is so limited, a plague would be almost unstoppable. And the sight of so many people dying so quickly could appear to them the work of a demon or a curse. We come from the future, so we know just how dangerous this is. But they have no idea. Morgana described it as a tale that could have only taken place in the era of miracles and spirituality. And about that, she couldn't be more right. Could we maybe warn everyone against taking the medicine? I assume the sickness was caused by them ingesting the blood at any rate. It's not medicine they're being given, but bottled disease like some sick joke. If we could convince them to stop taking Saint's blood, then maybe that would prevent the city from being destroyed. But the fact that it's been distributed in the house of the Lord, and peddled as a miracle, the cure plays right into their deep-rooted spirituality. Would it be even possible to convince them otherwise? Besides, it's not them we came here to see, but no, that's veering too far off our intended path. We need to find the truth and save Morgana's soul. Putting ourselves out like that is only going to get us unwanted attention, make people suspicious. We don't have that kind of time. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. It's just knowing what they're doing to themselves. I couldn't help but think that maybe there's something we could do. Especially considering how it all turns out. I understand the sentiment. Or rather, I understand your reasoning. But for me, Morgana takes priority over any of them. And you over everything. Releasing Morgana's soul should save yours as well, Giselle. If we can eliminate the mansion's darkness, then you won't have to be trapped as it's made. I have no interest in being the hero of the masses. Let's go ask about Mel's sister then. Okay. I turn my gaze back towards the nun to find her kneeling in one of the pews. She bows her head and begins to whisper a prayer. There's no one else in the chapel. Now's the perfect time to ask. Hearing me approach, she falls silent and turns to face me, wearing her usual disarming smile. Hello, Michelle. Mel was just here. He told me everything. Can't turn away a friend of Mel's now, can we? Sorry for turning you down earlier. No worries, I did a poor job of explaining myself. So, did you need something? Let me guess, medicine. No, I'm in perfectly good health. I figured you were lying. I can ask her about Saint's blood some other time. And we'll have a number of questions about the man she's close with too. Right now, Mel's sister is priority. Are you familiar with Mel's younger sister? She has flaxen hair much like him. Oh, you mean Nellie. Are you her friend too? I would say we're more... You're better off just saying you're friends. Friends, yes. What about her? I'd like to speak with her. I was wondering if you might know where I could find her. Nellie should be down in the cottage, I believe. The cottage? Yeah, that's where I stay. I don't sleep in the mansion itself. So you don't live here, but only work here. Right, for one, there are men who live here. The Lord likes to show up on occasion too, and we can have a nun wandering around while he's here. So you and Nellie live together then? Yeah, but we have for about 6 months or so, ever since she and Mel showed up. I wanted to let her stay here with her brother. But since this is technically church property, we have to keep the boys and girls separate. I see. I'm glad to hear Nellie's got a friend, though. What? She's not from around here, so she doesn't have many acquaintances. And with how sick she can get, she doesn't spend much time outside. Which is a shame, because she's such a sweet little girl. I'm her friend, of course, but I've got responsibilities. I can only be around for so often. So I'm sure she'd be delighted to have someone else to talk to. Yeah, it'd be my pleasure. Could you tell me the way to the cottage? Oh sure, it's not that far from here. You go down. The directions I got from the nun led me to a place I know from my own time. It's the same building where the man who'd been ordered to keep me under surveillance stayed. Sunlight seeps relentlessly through the trees, and I find myself having to look down at my feet as I follow the path. It's blindingly bright, painful. How are you holding up, Michelle? I'll be alright. The sun's past its peak. In a few hours it won't be nearly as bad. Don't push yourself, okay? Okay. The trek is a reminder of just how inconvenient my body always was. And having this chance to experience being alive again comes with the good parts and the bad. But now is hardly a time to complain about my sensitivity to the sun. It's not too long before we reach the clearing. A small cottage surrounded by a small garden coming into view. And crouching by a flower bed, picking flowers is the flaxen-haired girl. Are you Nellie? Though several details of her appearance don't match my memory of her, she still has that distinct hair. It could be nobody else. This Nellie is considerably thinner and looks rather frail. The effects of her being ill, I presume. Who are you? My name's Michelle. I have a few questions to ask you. Can we talk for a bit? I would have thought you would have said something by now. You're being way too blunt, Michelle. You're gone and scared her. What else was I supposed to say? You had to approach slowly, carefully. Go on, give her a smile. A nice, soft smile. Smile. Oh, poor Michelle. That smile is incredibly threatening. I'm only here to talk. There's nothing to be afraid of. Okay, that is definitely not a nice smile. I can't even see it and I can still tell. What did you expect? I can't just smile on demand. He gets a bad man. A bad man has come to kidnap me. Save me, dearest Mel, before this bad man does bad things to me. Calm down, please. I'm not going to do anything to you. You don't get any closer. I know you're trying to do bad things to me. I'm not going to do bad things to you. I couldn't even if I wanted to. Don't move over. Call the guards in. Please calm down. I mean you no harm, honestly. That's what all bad men say. I know, Giselle, don't just watch. This would be a fantastic time for a little advice. Got it. Maybe I should calm down if you mention Mel. You're a genius. I'm a friend of Mel's. What? He was telling me about you. And how you wanted someone to talk to and he asked me to go keep you company. I'll ask you to come talk to me. He did. Do you trust me now? So that makes you his friend, then. As much as it pains me to admit it. Michelle! What on earth possessed you to say that? Slip of the tongue. You and him, is that so? Yes? You're pretty old to be friends with my Mel. Are you really, really his friend? Really? Then prove it. How so? If you're really his friend, then you should be able to tell me all about him. Why in God's name would you ever subject me to that? Do you not like Mel, Michelle? That's not it, we're just incompatible. Okay, here we go. First question, what does my Mel like most of all? You think so too? You think I'm his favorite thing in the whole wide world? Theater, truly. I'd like to believe that's what he thinks. I think it'd be wonderful if I could always be his number one. Her excessive love for her brother is still out in full force, I see. Second question, what kind of person is my Mel? The truth. That's right, he's a very nice guy. He can have his head in the clouds sometimes, but other than that, he's perfect. You know your stuff. To be honest, I was just saying what you wanted to hear. Me and my big mouth. Okay, final question. Describe what he looks like for me. I should have picked all the wrong options. I'm being a bad streamer. Isn't he? He's like a modern day Adonis. That might be a bit of a stretch. Mel could be a prince in a fairy tale. He's got the most perfect face. May I ask you something? You do realize he's still growing, right? And that can change a man in unimaginable ways. He can end up 2 heads taller, shoulders twice as broad, and covered in muscle before you realize what happened. And body hair, lots of that. Facial hair as thick as these woods. Would you still consider Mel your prince if that happened to him? Mel with a beard and muscles? I won't have it, that's not my Mel at all. You're heading into dangerous waters, Mel. My Mel will never ever grow a beard. I pray every day to make sure of it. And he won't get all big and muscly either. There's nothing princely about any of that. I wouldn't mind some muscles myself. Out of curiosity, did you ever want to be buff like that, Michelle? Well, yes, of course. Every man wants to be strong and well-built. I don't think the beefy look would work on you. Well, that's the last of my questions. Lander Twinks Pepsi. Nelly will destroy all non-Twinks. It is kind of funny that we're getting so much levity and comedy compared to pretty much any other point in the game right now. It juxtaposes a lot with Morgana just suffering over that. Sure, why not? You can be my mouse friend. Why, thank you. This is great, I was so sure you were Batman. Why is that the first impression everyone has of me? Is never that I'm someone decent. Any friend of Mel's must be a good person. No, an amazing person. That's quite the faith you have in him. Why wouldn't I? He's my big brother. That's some circular logic. And yet Michelle had so much faith in his brothers as well. Is it just you? Is Mel not coming? He's rather busy at the moment. Oh, he's always has something to take care of, that Mel. He's hardly given me any attention these past couple of months. But that's okay, because today I've got you to keep me company. Yes, you do. I can't stay long, though. Alright, just stay until sundown. You had something you wanted to ask me, didn't you? If you're a good enough friend, I'll tell you anything you want us to know. How do I go about that? Talking, lots and lots of talking. You have to keep me entertained. You're asking far too much of me. She's not asking much at all. She just wants to talk. Do you think someone who spent 13 years in isolation knows the first thing about holding a pleasant conversation? Oh, hey now, I was there for a year of that. I'll help you come up with topics, so go on. Do you not want to talk to me? No, I do. I'm just not much of a conversationalist. Okay, then instead of talking, you can sing. I've never seen a minstrel before, but I've always wanted to know what kind of songs to sing. Will you show me? I've never seen one myself either, but I've heard second-hand accounts of songs of traveling jongleurs. Very well then. I'll teach you a song an old acquaintance of mine heard while traveling. I can't wait. Here goes. The silence is deafening. I'm shocked. I don't think I've ever heard someone sing so badly. Me neither. I'm flabbergasted. Let's hear you try then. That's enough singing for today. I don't want my ears to fall off. What a vicious little girl. I know, let's bake something. Bake? Yeah, come on inside. I made some nice jam earlier today, and wanted to make it into a pretty little pie. You get to help me with that. I'm not much of a... Come on, get a move on. You either help or you don't get to be my friend. As you wish. This is not going to end well. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. How on earth do you manage to turn a pie into this monstrosity? I gave it my best shot. There's only one explanation. You're possessed! It's true he is, but I'm a perfectly good chef. Michelle's just naturally terrible at it. God, could this go any worse? I can't give this to Mel. Jerk, dimwit, loser. I'm sorry. Well, I guess we got no choice but to eat it ourselves. I'll set the table. What? And I'll make us some tea while I'm at it. You know, I've always dreamed of this, sitting around a table with a friend, having snacks and just talking. Oh. Yeah, but for that I can deal with a little awful, disgusting pie. It's just too bad I couldn't share with my Mel too. I see. For all her complaining, she seems to be enjoying herself. I can only imagine how lonely she is out here. While she may act all bright and cheery, beneath is a real sense of isolation. And the same can be said about the girl behind the first door. As vivacious and pushy as she could be, you could see hints of loneliness behind it all. Her brother was practically all she had while she lived in the mansion. If I were to guess, that's not the life she really wanted. I bet she would prefer to be able to go out and play with friends. Being born into a normal family takes away a lot of your freedom. You're in such a drastically different time period, she's still the same girl inside. Actually, maybe parallels extend beyond her as a person and into the courses of her two different lives. Perhaps that means all of those who reconstructed Morgana's wish are destined to lead similar lives. Though Justin might be putting it too nicely. Nellie. I'd be glad to lend you my ear if you'd like. You can talk about the weather or your brother, anything you want. You will? Great, take a seat. I've got lots I want to talk to you about. More than you can possibly imagine. And you'll never guess what Mel said next. That I mean more to him than the whole world. Some growing flowers out in the garden, right? Well, when I've got enough of them, I'm going to make a big bouquet and give it to Mel. Back at home, we got this really, really big yard with a huge tree. We used to take naps under it when it was nice out. So what do you think about the tea I made? The flower petals would really ties it all together. Oh, and you won't believe what happened after that. Care for another cup of tea? I'll make as much as you can drink. No, thank you, I'm fine. I feel like all I did was nod and listen. And the bulk of it was about Mel, no less. I haven't talked that much in ages. Time sure flew by, huh? The sun's starting to set. Do you and the nun not speak much? We do, but it's kind of, I don't know. Not really the same with her. It just feels, I guess, like she's too important for me to waste her time. Being the lady in charge of the church and pretty much the whole estate. And what about Mel? Does he not visit you very often? No, he does. He comes to see me a lot. Then why? He hasn't been himself lately. My old Mel would always happily listen to whatever I had to say, but now he seems kind of distracted. It sounds like he's really busy. When he visits, he doesn't stay for long, and he goes back to the mansion at night. I'll try to get him to stay longer, but it never works. And he always avoids the question when I ask him why he can't. Feels like he's hiding something. No, what he's hiding. I can understand why he wouldn't want to talk about it. He could never tell his precious little sister that two of the men have a girl locked up in the tower, and that he's stealing her blood for her sake. I wish things could have stayed the way they were before. The way they were before? When it was just the two of us living together. I know we're more stable here and I can get the medicine I need from the church. But I'd rather stay being sick than be so alone. You said you came here around 6 months ago. Yeah, but it was just the two of us before that. Well, before that, at our old house we had a bunch of servants. But I never really liked it there either. With that many people around, I just felt more alone. I liked it so much better when it's just me and Mel. Is that really what you want? To be sick and in constant pain? It's better than being alone. Mel doesn't get it. He doesn't understand that loneliness is so much worse. Or maybe that's just a guy thing. They don't get what it's like to be ignored. What it feels like to be left in the dark, not knowing anything. We don't understand now. We think saving their lives matters above all. Huh? Even if there's a cost to saving that life, we're incapable of gauging how great it is. We're unable to see how egotistical, how self-serving our actions are. Are you talking about yourself? The same could be said of Mel and Paul, I imagine. Mel's still around though. He's there, but he's trying to avoid me. All I want for him is to be here, to be with me. That's all I really want. He doesn't even have to be perfect, fairy tale prince. Have you ever told him that? What? Have you ever told him that he doesn't have to be a perfect brother? That you'd happy with just having him there? Have you ever put those feelings into words? I'm always telling him I want him around. And that he doesn't have to be your prince to do so. He's already said he will be my prince. He always smiles whenever I talk about it. So how am I supposed to turn around and say he doesn't have to be my prince anymore? I know it's not your intention to force an ideal image onto him. But unconsciously, subconsciously, that's what you're doing when you talk like that. And Mal, he's trying to meet those expectations. Actually, he may not be conscious of it himself. And he just believes deep down that's the kind of person he's supposed to be. Or miraculously, he seems to have a need to make himself look good to others. He believes that if he's good to others, they'll be good to him in return. Am I a burden? I can assure you he's better off with you around. But I am a burden to him right now, aren't I? Be honest with me. Yes, you are. Does Mel not like me anymore? Is that why he's avoiding me? I promise you that's not the case. At the very least, he's doing what he's doing now because of how much he cares for you. You promise? I promise. I love him. I love my Mel so very much. Too much, in fact. To be honest, I know I do. I understand that, really. I know I'm making his life difficult. But Mel's all I have. He's the only person I can latch onto. I can't control my feelings. It can be difficult to tame your emotions at your age. There's nothing wrong with that. However, you should have taken stock of those emotions, sorted through everything you've got on your mind, and then sat down with him to talk it out. Even if those things you feel seem wrong or unspeakable. You should have opened up to him, taken the time to figure out what works best for the both of you. You two needed to face the things you carried in your heart. The things your brother carried in his. By not doing so, you end up never quite on the same page. Small misunderstandings piling up until it all comes crashing down. If they had just talked it out, communicated their feelings to one another, maybe their tragedy could have been avoided, even with the Morgana's curse in play. If Nellie had only had a chance to come to grips with her feelings for Mel, then maybe things wouldn't have escalated the way they did. Her actions that night were arguably hysterical, but she wasn't always like that. I'm sorry. That was out of line. None of this is any of my business, I know. No need to apologize. You're a very curious man, you know. Huh. We only met a couple hours ago, but you talk like you know me your whole life. It's like you can hear everything I'm thinking, see everything in my heart. Did Mel tell you all of that? No, he did not tell me much. I didn't think so. He doesn't know me that well. It's not too late, is it? If I talk to him, really tell him how I feel, do you think Mel will listen? I know he will. It won't make things worse. It won't make him uncomfortable. There's a chance that rifts may form at first, but those cracks can be filled again, and I promise you the result will be something much better than if you had held it in. It will all work out. Okay. Next time I see Mel, I'll tell him. I'll tell him he doesn't have to try to be my prince. Good. You really are a curious man. You're the first person to ever talk to me like I'm a real person. Everyone loves to say how sweet and adorable I am, but that's it. I was only ever their make-believe princess. You are a real person, I assure you. Thanks. You know, after talking to you, I feel a whole lot better. Like I can do anything. I'm glad you came by today. And I'm glad I could meet you in person. It's weird, it really feels like we've known each other for our entire lives. I've known you for some time. Perhaps I should say what you've become. Oh no, ignore me. Was that supposed to be a pickup line? A bad admission, Michelle. I'm still too young for that. No, I wasn't. And now you're getting flustered. I swear that's not what that... I know. Geez, do you really think I trust you that little? Sorry. Oh, I just had the most wonderful idea. Oh? Yep. Instead of being my friend, I'll let you be something even better. You're my second brother. Second brother? A brother is much more special to me than a friend. Though obviously you can't be my number one. I'm blanking. She's taking a liking to you. This is good for us. I'm not sure how I feel about her putting so much trust in me so quickly, though. The amount of time it takes isn't important. What matters is you listen to her, you're understanding her, and you treat her like a real person. In her eyes, you're someone she can depend on. Do you not want me as your sister? Actually, I was the youngest child, so having a younger sibling would be, Would be what? Come on, spit it out. It'd be rather nice. You bet it would. Who wouldn't want an adorable sister like me? That's a bit narcissistic, would you say? Well, it's true, isn't it? Go on, tell me I'm adorable to yours, Michelle. Well, don't just stare at me. If my Mel was here, he wouldn't bat an eye. Please don't compare me to him. You know, now might be a good time to tell her about a Morgana. Part of me feels like I'd be taking advantage of her newly earned trust, but It's certainly easier to bring up now while she holds me in such high regard. She's much more likely to believe me. You're right. I agree now. Now's probably the best chance we'll get. Especially considering how little time we have. I can't shake the feeling I'm rushing things. But at this point, all I can do is go with it and pray it works. If we had time, I think we'd all like to hold off. Now it looks like she's having so much fun. And even you seem to be enjoying yourself. No, I'm just... It's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm having fun watching you myself. Let's do it. Let's tell her about Morgana. We had to do it at some point anyway. Yes, let's. Nellie, do you mind if I ask you a question? What is it, dearest Michelle? Ask me anything you want. Have you heard of something called Saint's Blood? You mean the medicine? Yes, except it's not actually. I know, yeah. It's actually the Saintess's blood, not medicine. But no telling. You what? One day before we moved here, when it was just me and Mel, the Saintess came to visit. My mind had been all foggy for a long time. Like I was not quite asleep, but not quite awake either. But when I heard a soft, pleasant voice, the fog cleared a bit. And then she performed a miracle for me. Blood is awful and gross and terrible, but the Saintess, hers is different. Hers is pure. So you're saying you know everything, Nellie? About the observation tower. Huh? The tower? What about it? That's where they keep her. What? No, the Saintess is always in the chapel. And she stays here with me. She comes back at nights. In fact, she should be here any minute now. So she thinks the Saintess is the nun and not Morgana. No, Nellie, that blood comes from... I'm really, really grateful for her. She didn't just perform the one miracle. She's been taking care of me. So whenever I see her, I always say thank you. I thank her for sharing her blood with me. And she always says it's nothing with a big smile. Nellie, no. The nun has no idea. She just assumes Nellie's thanking her for giving her the medicine. I owe the Saintess my life. No, Nellie. She's not the one you should be grateful to. Huh? The girl you owe your life has been locked up, suffering and alone even as we speak. But the Saintess is at the church. The girl who came to visit you is not the nun everyone calls the Saintess. Her name is Morgana. What are you talking about, Michelle? The Saintess is locked up? Stop that. I have no idea what you're talking about. Everything I'm telling you is the truth. Please believe me. While you were lying in bed, sick and barely conscious, did you get a good look at the Saintess who gave you her blood? You didn't, did you? You couldn't make out any details because your mind was a haze. And then when you arrived at this estate, and you met a woman who people call the Saintess, gave out a medication known as Saint's Blood. So you assumed she was the one who'd cured you. That's the story you chose to believe. If what you're saying is true, then where's the other Saintess, the one who came to see me? At the top of the mansion's observation tower. The door to the tower is locked. She's imprisoned there. And how do you know this? Because... wise to tell from the future just yet, that would only serve to confuse her further. All I need is convince her right now is Morgana's being held hotel. There's an idea. Passing apart from the story the white-haired girls told now. I received a letter. A letter? There's a single window far out of reach in the chamber at the top of the tower. A dove flew in through the window and soon she wrote a letter, tying it to the bird's leg and releasing it in hopes someone would come to set her free. The letter ended up in my hands. If that's the case, then who locked her up? Was it the Saintess, the one I know? No, I don't believe the nun is aware. I think she's simply doing her job in good faith. Then who? Michelle. I know very well that what I'm about to say will likely crush her, but I can't let that stop me. Who would do such a terrible thing? Nellie, I want you to brace yourself for what I'm about to say. There are 3 men participating in Morgana's imprisonment. One of those 3 is your brother, Mel. I understand that's the last thing you want to hear, but please believe me, I would not say something so upsetting lightly. I wish to save Morgana, the true saint. I would like your assistance. Without your help, I can't get her out of the tower. I need to get through to Mel, otherwise both he and Morgana will remain entrapped. That's not true. Nellie. You're lying, you have to be. My Mel would never do something so horrible. You're a terrible liar. It's true, I swear to you. You think I'm going to believe that? My Mel? My Mel's an amazing, wonderful person. He's not cruel and evil. He's good and kind like a prince. And a prince would never lock someone up. I know you're not blind, Nellie. You can see that all your prince talks and putting pressure on her. So you think that's going to change my mind? He has no reason to do any of that. But he does, Nellie. He's certainly not happy about it, no, but he's doing it for you. What do you mean? He needs your blood to keep you healthy, so to ensure he always had a supply. But no, he... And despite that, Saint's blood probably doesn't even have healing properties. No one benefits from doing this. Not you, not Mel, and certainly not Morgana. And I don't think anyone can stop him except you. Mel won't listen to me. But do you not just say you would talk things through with him? Just shut up! Stop talking already! I'm done listening to you! Nellie, I'll never believe you. You're not my brother anymore. You're just a horrible, horrible man. Who do you think you are to march in here and try to make my Mel into the bad guy? And after I made you my second brother? What's wrong with you? I trusted you. I hate nasty pie and had tea with you. But you're just a mean, evil man here to turn me against my Mel. I know you don't want to believe me, but I'm telling you the truth, every word. I beg you to open your eyes. Ask him yourself. If you don't believe me, then ask Mel about Morgana. I guarantee you he'll panic. Enough already. Get out of here. Get out of this instant. Nellie. Don't say my name. Just go away. Get out of here. Now, I don't want to see you ever again. I should have chased you off the moment I saw you. Get out now. I pray you can find it in yourself to open your eyes and face the truth. One last thing before I go, Nellie. It's my only option, I know that. But I feel like all I've accomplished by telling her was bringing her more pain. It's a difficult balance. We just had to pray that you're able to get through to her. I'm sure she'll come around. If only we had a little more time. In 3 days it will all be over. And Morgana and the entire web of people connected to her will die. That's not enough time. Let's return to the mansion and look for Mel. I'd like to speak with him. If there's a chance we can even get the smallest bit of Nellie's feeling through to him, maybe he'll have a change of heart. Hopefully. It's hardly going to be elegant, but it's what must be done. Ah, did you just get back? The Saintess was telling me you went to see Nellie. What do you think? Sweet girl, isn't she? That she is. Though she can be a bit of a handful at times. I'm glad you could keep her company for a bit. Now, just to be sure, you kept a lid on all your crazy talk, right? She treated me to some tea, nothing more. Ah, the stuff with flower petals in it, yeah. She thinks some kind of charm to make it taste better. Girls think they outthink for that stuff like that. Mel. Could you spare a bit of time for me? We need to talk. Oh, sure. Can I wait a bit, though? I have to run a little errand after supper. When I'm done with that, I'll meet you in your room. Alright. You think the errand is... bringing Morgana her meal, presumably? We might be able to catch the three of them opening the door if we trail Mel. It's too big a risk. Mel's already wary enough as it is. I concur. We don't know how the other two might react either. It's best to play it safe. No one's going to come to our defense if we're caught not at this point in time. So we better be off waiting in our room. Agreed. Though the winter has receded and spring is well upon the land, there's still a sharp chill in the night air. Even with the windows shut, the wind still manages to slip through the cracks, making the candle flame waver. Neither Giselle nor I say much of anything, but nevertheless, when she does speak, The sound of her voice, soft and pleasant, relaxes my nerves. The faint sound of her breathing reminds me I'm not alone, and that she's there, always watching over. So what did you all think of the conversation that Nellie and Michelle had? When the candle's about half gone, the door swings open. Sorry it took so long. What did you want to talk about? You didn't bring anyone with you? No, I didn't. Who did you think I would bring? No one, I was just checking. Now, get straight to the point. You're afflicted with a great deal of remorse, are you not, Mel? Pardon? I know what you're doing, what you're involved in. I know the girl at the top of the observation tower very well. Her name is Morgana, and you have her imprisoned in the tower. The door requires 3 keys to open, of which you possess 1. You need her for the miracle blood. How? I came here to stop you. How do you know about any of that? It's not possible. She couldn't have told anyone. Did one of them tell you? No, it wasn't them. I was told all this by Morgana herself. How could she? What I'm about to tell you is going to seem impossible, but every word of it is the truth. I'm not from this time. Many, many years after her death, Morgana's soul told me what would happen to her. What? What are you even talking about? She's still alive. You're not from this time? What? Are you mad? Can you come up with any other explanation for how I would have known everything I know? There's a single window in the room at the top of the tower. A small, insignificant thing that sits high upon the wall, and entirely useless for communicating with the outside world. In 3 days' time, during the Harvest Festival, Morgana will die. And I must prevent that from happening. Prevent it? To do that, I need your key. Will you give it to me? There you go. Talking nonsense again. You know, I warned you not to kick up any dust for your own sake. But I guess that didn't get through, huh? I don't care who you are or where you came from. All that matters is that you tend to stand in our way. What, do you think I was just a helpless little boy? That you could take my key without any trouble? Well, you'd be right about that. It was only me. Stealing my key and setting her free would be a trivial matter. But it's not only me. And the other 2, they won't hesitate to kill you. Your life, anyone's life, means nothing to them. You don't know what they're like. How terrifying they can be. They're killers. I'll tell them everything you told me. I'll tell them you know of her secret. And don't come crying to me when they comfort you. I warned you. Is that what you want? Will you find comfort you seek by being their devoted little slave, keeping Morgana imprisoned in the tower? What else can I? If you feel at all ashamed about your part in this, if you want to do something to correct it, then you need to take that step. You can't fix this problem on your own now. But I am here to help. I'm not ashamed about anything. Don't lie to yourself. Don't act like you know how I feel. What the hell's your deal anyway? You show up out of nowhere spouting all this, I'll save you, I'm here to help, rubbish. You need to do this for your sister. See, now that's ridiculous. If I wash my hands of this, I won't ask this the witch's blood anymore. And without that, Nellie can't get better. And she'll die without that blood. Her blood has no miraculous healing powers. You only believe it does, making it appear to work. You're mad. Morgana's blood is not curing Nellie. In fact, it may very well be killing her. If you keep giving her the blood, Nellie will also lose her life during the Harvest Festival. What? You're standing on the precipice of a horrific tragedy, and you're going to take everyone down with you if you don't turn back now. What are you? All 3 of you are going to lose everything on the day of the festival. And there's only one way to prevent that. You had to set Morgana free. You're insane if you think I would believe that. Nellie's going to die? Could you have told a more mean-spirited lie? You're the only one who's trying to kill her. I'm just trying to save her. And you're going about it the entirely wrong way. Do you have any idea how lonely your sister is right now? You should be at her side. That's what you should be doing instead of stealing a poor girl's blood. I've heard enough. What do you know? If I lose Nellie, I'll have no one. My whole world will collapse. This is the only way I could keep that from happening. This is my best option, my only option. So no, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep Morgana locked up. I'm going to keep stealing her blood, and I'll hand you over to the other two. I'll have them kill you. You'll regret ever showing your face. Mel, is that really true? Do you really have the Saintess locked up? What are you doing here, Nellie? That man told me he had to talk to you. That he said if I didn't have the courage to do it myself, to wait outside his room tonight because he was going to get the truth from you. You conniving son of... You planned this all along. Why would you tell Nellie? Why would you bring her of all people into this? Mel? Tell me, Mel, is it true? Nellie, are you really keeping the Saintess prisoner and stealing her blood? And you said you would have killed him. I never thought you were such a terrible person, Mel. I can't believe you would do such despicable things. No, you're not my brother anymore. Nellie! Michelle, go after her. We have to stop her, bring her back. Nellie! Don't follow me, just go away. Leave me alone. Stop. If you run away from him now, Mel will never come back from this. Then why didn't you tell me? Why did you tell me what he was doing? If you hadn't said anything, everything would still be fine. We wouldn't be in this horrible mess. Everything would have just rotted slowly and awfully until everything just fell apart. If you hadn't said anything, I could have kept on believing in him. No, things wouldn't be fine. Why can you not see that? You shouldn't put your faith in your ideal brother, but your real one, that boy in the room stricken with regret. If I hadn't said anything, the facade would have ruined you both sooner or later. No, in truth, your relationship was already broken. You were simply ignoring the spreading cracks. And that secret was tearing you apart. There's nothing good about this though. Now we'll never be able to go back to the way we were. We can never go back to what it was like when we were kids. Just the two of us playing together every day, having fun. Everyone's childhood comes to an end. The flow of time is impartial. You can't fight it. What you can do, what only you can do, is choose how you change. But I'll admit I'm the one who opened your wounds. Now I'm putting the responsibility of tending to them onto you. It's cruel, I know. But if you don't come to terms with Mel and make him withdraw his participation, even greater suffering awaits you in the far future. It's not over yet, and you cannot let this be where this ends. That bond you formed over the years is not yet broken. And you can do what I was never able to. You can still repair your relationship. But I'm scared. Scared that my brother, that my Mel could do such terrible things. That he could say, he would kill you. He used to be such a good brother. He was always so kind, so friendly to everyone. But it was all a lie. It was all a big act to fool me. No, it was not at all an act. There was truth to it. He is a kind-hearted boy, an ordinary young man, whose kindness was twisted by circumstance. And it doesn't matter how good a person someone is. Everyone has the potential to do terrible things when backed into a corner. You think you know everything? I know that much. Nellie, if you want your brother back, you have to act now. You must take action. But I'm scared. What am I supposed to say to him? I don't know. I'll be there with you. You don't have to face him alone. There's more to this story than we've heard. We don't know how he got himself involved in this. And I mean to get the rest out of him. And you need to be there to hear it. If, when I hear what he has to say, I try to say something I shouldn't, if I try to say something that will ruin everything, you'll stop me? You're the one who told me to open my eyes and face it. You're the one who made this whole mess. What am I supposed to do if this destroys everything I have? You said you'd be my brother, right? So be a good brother and help me out here. Promise me you'll make sure nothing goes bad. You'll do that, won't you? Michelle, just say yes. We won't let this go bad. Have faith in yourself. Faith that you put their relationship on track to recovering. Promise her. You have nothing to fear. I'll be there for you. I'll help you both. Okay, I'll do it. I'll go back. Thank you, Giselle. Oh, don't mention it. Now let's see what he has to say for himself. Let's draw back to that curtain. Yes, let's. Nellie. Mel, what did you come back for? To ridicule me? I'm not the brother you thought, Mel. Not at all what you wanted me to be. It's all over. Everything Michelle said is true. There's a girl in prison in the tower. A completely innocent girl. A girl who saved your life, in fact. Go on, tell me how cruel and terrible and evil I am. I'm no prince. Here's an idea, why don't you make him your new prince? You can do it, Nellie. Ask him. You have your reasons, don't you? You have some reason for being a part of this, right? A reason? Yeah, I have a reason, alright. I want to save your life. I needed her blood to cure you, so I had her locked up. Tell me the truth. I don't remember much about when the scientist came to visit, but I do remember her saying she would gladly give what you give to the sick and needy. Which means you had no need to lock her up. It seemed that tale Morgana showed me was true. She really was a saint. Yes, she was. Tell me the truth, Mel. Tell me everything. There's nothing to tell. There is, I know it. There's more to the story than just the facts. The things you thought, the things you felt, are all pieces that combine to make the whole story. Isn't that right, Michelle? You're exactly right. If you hadn't said anything, we could have gone on with the lives as normal. No, Mel, we couldn't have. I thought so too at first, but it's not true. Our normal lives ended long ago. Tell me the truth, Mel. No matter what it is, I can handle it. No, Nellie, you can't. A girl like you, whose dreams of becoming a princess, couldn't possibly bear to see how hideous her brother has become. How can I know if you don't say anything, Beth? That's how it's always been between us. You were nice to me, and that's all I needed. I never looked beyond the surface. I made you into my ideal brother and latched onto that image of you. You're a kind person, Mel, you really are. So kind you played along with that fantasy that you were a prince. But you don't have to act for me anymore. I want to know the real you. I'm all done being a princess. I'm just your little sister now, nothing more. Your one and only little sister, Mel. You need to do this, Mel. You need to tell your story. Until you do, we have no way of understanding what you've been through, what you're going through. No way, if I tell you, you'll lose any hope you have left in me. As Nellie has, you need to release yourself from your own idealized fantasy now. You have someone right here who will accept you for who you are. No, I know good and well just how hard it is to have someone dear to you see a side of you that you didn't want to show. I think you want to get it off your chest, though. And I think you want forgiveness. Fantasies are not everlasting. They all crumble eventually. Show us the real Mel. Tell us your story, without embellishments or omissions. Mel. Okay. I'll tell you, not like any other option. Nellie, if at any point you can't bear to hear anymore, so be it. You're free to You're free to leave whenever you like. I won't go anywhere. I can almost guarantee you. I pray that ends up being true. Alright, here goes. The whole story from start to finish of how I ended up in this mess. Yeah, let's go through all of this as well, and then I think we'll call it. Until around the time I turned 17, my life was mostly uneventful. On days when it was nice out, I would take a walk around the house's garden grounds, sometimes napping beneath a tree. It was picturesque, and you were always there with me. You have the same flax-colored hair as me, but yours always seemed to glisten in the sun, whereas mine is flat and dull. You shone like a tiny little dancing sun. At the time, I assumed that was how life would always be. I genuinely wanted it to be. Following my 17th birthday, though, I was met with a deluge of changes. First, father fell ill and passed away shortly thereafter. With his death came the question who would be the next head. As the oldest son, normally would fall on me to take his place. I was 17 by all means, enough of an adult to handle things myself. Well, that's what I thought anyway. Nobody else did, though. After discussions I had no part in, it was decided that my uncle would be the next head. That they weren't confident I had the spine to do the job properly. I wasn't sure what to think. Part of me wanted to know why nobody bothered talking to me, and part of me was relieved. Somewhere inside, I knew I didn't have what it took, so I was more than happy to let someone else take that responsibility. If it meant I could go on with my quiet life, I didn't care who they picked. My uncle, though, seemed to caught on to my apathy, which he did not take kindly to, and in response he formally disowned me. You're not the only one who's still had some growing up to do, Nellie. I wasn't quite that I had thought I was, either. Fortunately, if you wanted to call it fortune, I was given enough money to live on for a decent length of time, as well as a place to stay. It was a small house, far from home. His way of making it hard for me to come back. Not that I had any intention of returning. But the best thing to come out of it all was you coming with me, Nellie. So this is our new home, dear Snell. Yep, so it is. It's amazing how little there is. No big yard, no paintings, no vases filled with colourful flowers, no silver bowls full of fresh picked food. But there's you and me. You're not going to go and say you want to return home in a couple months when you realize life isn't as luxurious here as it was back there, are you? There's only one thing in the whole wide world that I really need. Oh. Honestly, I can live without shiny shoes and pretty dresses like Mother wears. I don't need composers to come and write me songs for my birthday. As long as I have the one thing that matters most to me, I can do without anything else. Are you saying? I'm as happy as I've ever been. I don't need all that fancy, expensive stuff. We may not have a huge yard, but the sun shines everywhere. Flowers can grow even without a gardener tending them. Nellie, I'll do whatever I can for you, dear Chanel. Are you hungry? I'm hungry. Oh, yeah, a bit. Alright, I'll make something then. Start off with some fruit jam, then maybe make a pie out of it. What else sounds good? I'm craving cookies. You've got quite the secret, too. You're gonna make yourself sick like that. That's the first smile I've seen since we got here. Oh, that can't be right. I'm sure I've been smiling. Nope, you've been frowning all day. Whatever you say. Forget about all this stuff at home. We've got each other. We can do this. Who cares that we're not rich anymore? We'll figure out things in no time. And then we'll have even more fun than we did back there. Yeah, you're right. It'll all work out, dear Smell. I'll always be there for you. You got yourself an adorable little princess. What more could you possibly need? Cheer up. Thanks. I'm really glad you decided to come with me. Oh, did you think for a second I wouldn't? I'm a princess, dear Smell. And princes belong with the prince. I suppose so. Until that day, I'd never known how good it felt to have someone who wanted me in their life. Who saw me for me. I realized for the first time how blessed I'd always been. I was hardly prince material. I wasn't strong or handsome or regal enough for that. But Nellie calling me her prince gave me the illusion of being worth something. It made me feel like I could keep on being the richly blessed young man, even this far away from home. While I had been given some money, my supplies were far from infinite. I knew I'd eventually have to find some kind of work. But some way to support myself and Nellie. But to be quite honest, I couldn't gather the motivation to do much of anything. My whole life had changed so abruptly, so dramatically, that my mind just wasn't able to keep up. It had knocked me up on my backside, and I didn't have the strength to get back up. I couldn't tell Nellie that, of course, so this is what I said instead. I'm staying home because I want to be with you as much as possible. And she happily took me at my word. Our new life together was quiet and remarkable. Even so, it was still a constant stream of new experiences for the two of us, having been pampered our entire lives. Welcome home, dear Smell. What did you buy today? I got a chicken. Whoa, I've never seen one so up close before. Are we going to keep it as a pet? I was planning on using it for supper. Boy, you're going to cook it? That's the idea. You like chicken, though, don't you? Steamed, especially if I remember right. Yes, but it's all covered in feathers and flapping about. How are we supposed to cook it? If I remember, the guy said you had to pluck its feathers, then cut off its head and drain all the blood. You, no way, absolutely not. Not in a million years. You do it, Mel. Well, I've never done this before. Well, I'm not, so you do it. Alright. I'll bring it to the... Not inside, do it outside. Okay. I never had to slaughter chicken before. Chef's back home always took care of it. God, I hope I don't screw this up. Well, I'm not going to accomplish anything if I just sit here worrying. Just gotta give it my best shot. Oh, please don't put up a fight. I can't watch. On the count of 3. Okay, the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wait, come back. It's gone. But in time I started getting more comfortable with things and stopped pining for my own life. For the longest time I couldn't shake the memory of the fact that I had once been a noble. I was constantly wondering how I ended up there, why this was happening to me. Nellie seemed to adjust it fairly quickly, but I wasn't faring so well. I was surprised, honestly. I figured if anyone was going to have an issue with her new lifestyle, it was going to be her, not me. Back home, Nellie had tended to, be a bit of a princess. She was frequently harsh with Abigail, scolded them for the smallest things. There are times where I thought she might be biting her tongue for my sake, but every time it crossed my mind, she would say, I got you, dear Smell. Everything's just fine. Oh, dear Smell, I just had the most wonderful idea. Would you like to hear? Sure, what's your idea? We should get married. What? You can't be serious. As serious gets. I mean, we're basically married already and everything but name. We can't do that. We're siblings. Nobody here needs to know that. They can guess from her hair and eye color, though. I don't think we look that much alike. Anyway, whatever gave you that idea. If we get married, then we can be together forever. We can do that just as well as brother and sister. It's not the same, though. No one ever says two siblings lived happily ever after. I want to be with you for the rest of my life, dear Smell. The best way to do that is get married. But, Nellie, what are you so hesitant for? Is there someone you pine for? I don't know, but then there's no problem. We're blood-related siblings. Does she realize that getting married means eventually having children? And everything that leads up to that? That goes against the teachings of the Lord. No, she's still just a kid chasing after a fairy tale ending. She doesn't understand the reality of what she's saying. Sometimes I'm not sure what to do with you, Nellie. So you'll marry me? Oh, but right now I know you need God's word. Starting tonight, you're getting your own private sermon every night. Understood? I'm not going to lie, the thought did cross my mind that her proposition might not be so bad. For one, I couldn't imagine spending the rest of my life with anyone else, and it had been her smile that kept me going when things got difficult. But I knew that it was a sin, and I didn't think I'd be able to live with myself if I crossed that line. So night after night, I taught her, reminded her that we were brother and sister, and that we didn't have to be anything more for her to be the most important person in the world to me. And after about a third month away from home, that life began crumbling. Nellie woke up one day with a high fever that refused to break. At first I thought it was just a cold and she'd be over it soon enough. But as much as I tried to convince myself, oh, she'll be better tomorrow, she just kept getting worse until eventually she couldn't even get out of bed. She had visibly lost weight, and I had never heard her voice so weak and lethargic before. Is there really anything you'd like me to get you now? All I want is you to be here with me, dear Snell. You really should eat something. I'll make something you like. How about a nice expensive chicken? The last one got away, but I won't let that happen this time. I'm not really in the mood for anything too heavy. Oh, okay. Don't you worry, Mel. I'll be better before you know it. Yeah, you will. You'll be just fine. Everything's going to be back to normal soon. Watching Nellie grow weaker every day scared the hell out of me. I desperately did not want to lose her. If I lost her, then who'd be left that wanted me? Who would tell me I was worth something? Who would say nice things about me? Who would be there with me every day? Just when had I started feeling optimistic about this new life, started to feel comfortable in it, I was looking like it might fall apart again. I searched everywhere for some medicine that could cure her. Healthy foods, fruits, vegetables with supposed medicinal properties, anything I could get my hands on. I prayed. And Nellie, you were overjoyed. You were thrilled I would go to such lengths for you. But the reality is, I was really doing it for myself. But as much as I searched, I couldn't find anything that worked, and I started to panic. I would go back to bed at night afraid I'd wake up the next morning and Nellie wouldn't. I was already grasping at straws and I was ready to try anything that had even the slightest chance of curing her. And then one day I heard the whispers. Whispers of a witch who lived by the lake. They said she was a recluse, that she hardly ever left her house, and that she hadn't been down to the city in years. They told me she might have some medicinal herbs that could help, so I rushed down to the lake to see her. Sitting by the shore was a small cottage, even less luxurious than where Nellie and I were living at the same time. Seeing the thin trails of smoke rising from the chimney, I was convinced the rumors were true. A witch lived in that house. I wasn't sure what to expect. Being a recluse, I figured she wasn't going to be very sociable, at least. To tell you the truth, I was kind of scared to knock on her door. But I exhausted all my other options, so I clenched my teeth and gave the door 2 firm raps. Who's there? The sound of her voice caught me off guard. All I could do was stare at the door with a knot in my throat. Based on the information I had, I assumed I was going to find a wrinkly old woman. But that was the voice of a young girl. And even though she had said 2 words, there was something indescribably enchanting about that voice. I could listen to her talk for hours on end, in some kind of strange hypnotic trance. It was almost like magic, for a lack of a better word. I stood there dumbfounded, like my soul had been sucked from my body. Who's there? She repeated her question, which brought me back to reality. Though I still had to fight to maintain my wits enough to respond coherently. My sister has fallen very ill, and she desperately needs medicine. I was told that the person who lives here is a skilled herbalist. Could I please get something to treat her? What are her symptoms? She's got extremely high fever that won't come down. She has no appetite. She's only drinking water and she can't get out of bed. We're going to want to lower her fever first. After that, we'll get her on a nutritious diet. I'm going to give you 2 medications. Give her the first while her fever's high, and the second after it comes down. Thank you very much. Her voice wasn't bright and energetic like Nellie's. It was more restrained, somber, and quiet, yet simultaneously clear and sharp. The sound tickled my curiosity. I wanted to know what she looked like. I wanted to know what kind of girl stood on the other side of that door. With a voice that pretty, she must be equally lovely, I thought. And I had to see it for myself. And my wish didn't fall on deaf ears. When she opened the door to hand me the herbal medicine and take my money, her head peeked out between the cracks ever so slightly. I said I would tell you everything exactly as happened, so I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. It was unsettling. It was nothing like an imagined from her voice. Her skin had, I guess, fallen off or something, because you could see the raw red flesh beneath. To say it was hard to look at would be an understatement. Most of her face was covered by a black hood, so all I could see was her mouth and chin, but even that much was harrowing. But the last thing I wanted to do was look away. For all I knew, that was why she'd become a recluse, and I couldn't let myself hurt her. So I suppressed my own disgust and put on my best smile. People often tell me I have a very pleasant, amiable smile, so I figured I could use that to prevent her from picking up on what was actually going on through my mind. When she saw my face, a look of surprise seemed to cross her. Witch's herbs did indeed seem to help some. Going to visit her was better than talking to any of the local doctors. Nonetheless, Nellie hadn't been cured. She was only feeling a little better. So I kept paying the witch visits, kept purchasing more herbs from her. And every time I went to the cottage and heard her sweet voice, I imagined how much sweeter it'd sound without a door obstructing it. Even knowing what she looked like didn't stop the curiosity from growing within me. From what I gathered talking to her, there wasn't much of an age difference between us either. She was 16 and I was 17. I was sure you know how it is. When you meet someone around your age, you feel sort of sense of kinship. This girl I had originally believed to be some kind of otherworldly witch was starting to feel like a regular person like me. Through our conversations, I managed to learn her name, as well as the fact that she'd come here from a faraway country. We were both a long way away from home. Thinking she might open up even more to someone who's been through a similar experience, I decided to try and invite her to go on a walk with me. It's not healthy to stay holed up inside all the time. You got this beautiful lake right here. What do you say we take a walk? To my surprise, she agreed. Great weather, isn't it? I love the way the sun reflects off the surface of the lake. It's gorgeous. Are you okay? I'm in disbelief, to tell you the truth. What for? You've seen my face. You know how hideous I am. And you still invited me on a walk. You're a very peculiar person. Is it really that strange? I mean, we're almost the same age, so I figure we'll make pretty good friends. You want to make friends with me? Well, sure, we've been through lots of the same things, so we can understand each other better than most. Understand each other? Yeah, we're both young, we've both been through some hard times. I'm going to be blunt with you, you have not been through anything like I have. What, no? If you had experienced the things I have, you wouldn't be smiling right now. I haven't known you long, but I don't need to have in order to know how unequivocally dissimilar we are. That we were cut from a very different cloth. Well, yeah, we're people, we're not made of cloth, so... That's not what that means, you know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be so harsh. So harsh. In fact, I would say you're much better off not being in my position. It sounds like you've been through a lot. If you don't mind me asking, what happened to you? I'd be happy to lend an ear. It might make you feel better if you get it off your chest. And that is what's so different about us. Huh? I will not tell you about myself now. That said, I do appreciate the concern. Thank you. Oh, sure, you're welcome. She's not very open with people, huh? I guess that's only to be expected. She hasn't spent much time around other people looking the way she does. Wonder if there's anything I can do for her. At least to get her to show a little bit of emotion. Say if it's not too much to ask, you think we can maybe do this again sometime? Don't expect me to lower my prices. I'm not trying to squeeze a better deal out of you. I just want to get to know you better. Nothing more to it. No ulterior motives. Promise. Did you forget I've already said I won't be telling you about myself? Alright, then it doesn't have to be about you. We can talk about anything. Whatever you want. Do you have any favorite food? Any hobbies? Nothing in particular. Well, that was a fruitful conversation. Okay, crap. I have no interest or taste worth mentioning. So if you want to talk, I suppose that leaves you to be the subject. Me? Tell me about yourself. My life's not all that exciting. Anything I had to tell you would probably just bore you. I'm not looking for excitement. Oh, okay. Well, alright then. I guess I can tell you about myself. And so I did. I told her about my family situation, and I told her about Nellie. And that was pretty much all I had to talk about. For the most part, she hardly even reacted to anything I said, so it was difficult to tell if she was listening or not. But she would urge me to continue whenever I go quiet for more than a few moments, so I suppose she was listening. Every time we came to purchase more medicine, we would go on a walk around the lake together, a single loop around the shoreline. Didn't give us much time to talk, but my attempts to reduce her walking pace or to stop to extend her time together were flatly ignored, and she refused to go around more than once, claiming it would disturb her daily rhythm. That said, she never refused an invitation either, so I don't think she particularly disliked me. Yet anyway. Oh, Robin. What does, Robin have to do with your sister? Nothing, I just saw one over there. If you listen, you can hear it singing. They migrate somewhere warmer when it gets cold. They fly off to someplace more comfortable. She seems cold, but he's enjoying it too. This is the first time he's getting to talk to another human being without having to be overly idealized like Nelly, or feeling like he's not a person without anything interesting or any personhood actually. And for Morgana, this is she did spend a lot of time at the brothel, right? So, which we might be exploring in a certain prequel that I will be playing sometime after. Maybe not directly after this, because I'll probably check out Nausea, Marmia, maybe. Sadly, I was trying to also think about checking out Sino Yuta, but 80% Relatables took that. If I had wings like a bird, maybe I could be free too. There's not a single creature living in this world that is free. What? Birds regularly get shot down by hunters or preyed down by larger birds. The idea that they're free is nothing more than man's short-sighted delusions. Evie, you bring up an extremely good point that I realized. Thank you. That game is incredibly effective at specific kind of horror, and just reminds it does a lot of it's incredibly good as a horror piece. It also has some problems in it's a really horny like VN like stuff is like it undercuts the horror in most of the situations, and it just doesn't work right. It's gross. Go to PNG macro for the rough stuff. No, I should be apologizing. I wasn't trying to attack you. I simply lack the ability to properly empathize with others. I do not understand people. So please, if I say anything that upsets you or makes you uncomfortable, don't assume that was my intention. Sure. Maybe you're hiding it, or maybe you just don't know it yet, but I think you've got more empathy than you're letting on. Surely you can't say nothing affects you at all. You are human. So you don't have to be so closed off. I might not be able to do much for you, but I do want to get to know you better. I want to understand you. So if you ever feel like talking about yourself, just know you got an eager pair of ears here. Okay? If there was ever someone who could understand me, who could empathize with me, they would not be human. What do you mean? That you would need to be far removed from any idea of humanity to have a chance at understanding me. Regardless, I do appreciate your kind words. Sure. So, out of curiosity, do you have anyone really important to you in your life? Not at the moment. Does that mean you used to? I'd love to hear about them, if you don't mind. They're all long dead. 4 years ago, something unpleasant occurred, and as a result of that, I was forced to part ways with the people who taught me that humans have the capability for kindness. Oh, I'm sorry. Well then, if your sister's condition worsens again, come see me. Farewell. Hey, maybe we could walk a little slower next time, so we have more time to talk. I want to get to know you better. I'll consider it. Does it really require much thought? So long. Bye. See you soon. Things continued on like that for a while. Nelly bouncing back and forth between getting better and getting worse. Emotionally, I followed not far behind, getting very little in the way of peace of mind. Having to spend so much time worrying over and looking after Nelly was starting to bore me out. even though I knew good and well she had much worse than me. I want to be done with it all. I want to be free. I want her to get better as soon as possible, so I could stop agonizing over her. So at some point I started wishing for a miracle. I didn't care if it came from God, an angel, or something less holy. I just wanted someone, anyone, to cure Nellie and take the weight off my shoulders. And during one of her walks, I let that slip. I'll take anything at this point to make her better. I'll even take a miracle if I can get one. I assumed she would, as she had a tendency to say that people who believed in miracles were delusional. She was, in my mind, very much a realist, which is why her response surprised me so much. Do you sincerely wish for a miracle? What? Do you truly want a miracle no matter what form it may take? Well, yes. I tried everything else. God is all I can ask for help anymore. I know what you're going to say. There's no such thing as miracles. If there were, Nellie would have been already be better. I prayed every single night for her recovery. It's all just delusion, I know. Miracles do exist. What? If you have faith that you sincerely wish for her to be healed, you will be granted your miracle. What are you talking about, Morgana? You said many times that I wish to know more about me. Yeah, I have. Well, I grant you that wish. As you listen to my story, you will come to understand why I said you will never be able to empathize with me. As you do, I hope will sprout up within you. Here in my lakeside cottage, I'm known as a witch, but I did not used to be called such. No, I am the daughter of God. Most people would dismiss such a claim as madness, and I almost did exactly that. But there was something strangely enchanting about her voice, and found myself slowly drawn into her tale, listening intently to her every word. The more I heard, the harder I was to believe she was lying, and before long I was convinced she was the daughter of God, a saint whose blood had miraculous powers. Her first cry ending a lengthy drought in the village where she was born, her blood cured the sick. She rolled up one sleeve to show me her arms. Practically every inch of skin from her shoulder to the tip of her finger was scarred from where she had been cut. According to her, the scarring had once been far worse, but had been improved by application of ointment. Every single one of those scars, she'd said, marked a person who had sought her blood, and I believed every word. There was something about her that set her apart from the rest of us normal people, like she was some higher being. They were not self-inflicted wounds, not the marks of someone who had tried to take their own life, but symbols of the great sacrifices she had made. She offered to give Nellie her blood, and without a moment's hesitation I accepted. Mel? Hey Nellie, I'm back. And I brought someone with me, a saint. A saint? Yep, she's here because the medicine wasn't working for you. She can perform miracles, so she's going to cure you. Miracles? That's right, her blood has miraculous healing powers. Blood? Fear not, my beloved sister. Hear my words and do as I say. You must have faith for the miracle to be performed correctly. I give you my blessings that I may bestow upon you salvation. I give you my love and I give you relief. Hear my words. I hear them. This body was created not in a mortal womb. This flesh is not the flesh of man. This blood is not the blood of man. The water that flows through these holy veins flows from the river of creation. Have mercy on them, O Father. May the infirm find comfort in your warmth. May the destitute find reprieve in your generosity. May my flesh bring nourishment and health onto this girl. Bestow upon her your blessing, O Father. Morgana held a pale hand above Nellie's mouth, and without hesitation sliced her own wrist. Blood slowly trickled down her middle finger from the cut, and dripped onto the gap between Nellie's bluish lips. I stood there entranced by the scene. It was like I was witnessing some kind of ritual. I wasn't sure, however, whether to describe it as sacred or profane. Watching the fresh blood trickling from the cut on her wrist made me break out into sweat, feeling like I was violating a taboo. Her knees rattled, I could barely stay on my feet. Needles pricked my hands, thoughts slipped through my fingers before they could fully form. Had I crossed the line that wasn't meant to be crossed? Had I stepped into territory man was never supposed to enter? Until I stopped processing Morgana's prayers as words, it became nothing but a rhythmical sequence of sounds bouncing around in my head. My line of sight grew gradually narrower. What? Are you alright? The ceremony is complete. How's Nellie? She's asleep right now, but she should awaken soon. Oh, good. My blood has the power to cause miracles, but you must remember that the miracle is predicated on your faith. So you're saying we need to worship you? No, I'm merely God's progeny. Your praises and prayers should be directed to my Father, the Lord God. I should get going then. Hey, thank you very much. When Morgana had said I would never be able to understand or empathize with her, she had not been lying. Having only heard her tell of it, I still believed there was some room for me to close a gap between us. That we still had enough in common. But seeing it with my own eyes, feeling it with my entire being, I no longer had any illusions of us being on the same plane. The similar sort of idealization problem Michelle had with his family, that Nellie had with Mel, that Morgana herself had with herself. I gave her my thanks. My voice was audibly trembling. Mel, come on, get up, dear Mel. Oh, Mel! Oh, finally you're awake, sleepyhead. Oh, what's with the look? Am I making a funny face? Are you good to be up and about? Yep, I woke up this morning feeling wonderful. Feel my forehead, Mel. See no fever. It's gone. She actually performed a miracle. I only remember bits and pieces, but I remember a really pretty saint lady showing up and giving me her blood. That's how she remembers it. Her memory's pretty hazy, huh? What kind of dream? There were a whole bunch of lights floating all around me, and they were changing into all sorts of different colors. It was the most wonderful dream. That doesn't help me understand at all, Nellie. It was a good dream, and that's what matters. It must have been the saint lady's power at work. Must be, yeah. I'm so relieved you're better, Nellie. Sorry for all the trouble I caused you, but now everything going back to normal. Yup, all back to normal. She wants to thank me? Yeah, Nellie's insisting I let her meet you so she can show her gratitude. So if it's alright, would you mind coming to supper sometime? That'd probably not be wise. Why not? It'd hardly be pleasant having to eat in presence of a face as grotesque as mine. And Duchess said she'll react well to the sight of it. I don't think it would cause any problems. Nellie isn't the kind of girl to judge someone by their looks, I don't think. Perhaps not, but to her I'm a saint, not a normal person. In her mind, she thinks I'm beautiful, doesn't she? We must maintain that illusion. It is essential miracle that our faith remains unwavering, and on some level, the faith depends on her idealized image of me. You think so? Though our time together is brief, I can see it in her. She's a girl with a great love of beauty. And perhaps the same could be said of you. I don't judge people by how they look. It's what's inside that matters. I'll take you at your word. Thanks. So, are you sure you don't want to come? I really shouldn't. I'm terribly sorry. Oh, okay. Why in the world am I feeling relieved? Now the recovery was a huge weight off my shoulders. Now everything could go back to the way it was, quiet and unremarkable. I could finally go out and get a real job, forget about my old life, live like a regular old commoner. That was what I was going to do for the both of us. The problem was, Nellie hadn't actually recovered completely. She was in near perfect health the first few days after drinking Morgana's blood, but soon after her fever came back and she stopped being able to get out of the bed. And to top it all off, she started having lengthy coughing fits. During some of them, she coughed up little bits of bloody foam. I nearly had a panic attack, so I rushed down to Morgana's cottage and told her what was happening, to which she responded with a quizzical tilt of her head. Nellie's health meant everything to me. It certainly wasn't the curiosity her eyes that seemed to make it out to be. But it didn't seem to bother her at all. The miracle took place, but it didn't persist. That doesn't make sense. But it's true, she can't get out of bed. It's not a problem with her faith. I've been teaching her the word of God every night, and she absolutely believes in you, her saint. Lower your voice. I'll perform another miracle for her. You'll do it again? I will not forsake those who are in need. And it'll stick this time, right? I cannot promise anything. But why? Your miracles aren't supposed to be temporary, are they? Whether they are or not is decided by you and your sister. You're my only hope, though. Please do not worry. If a second blessing is not enough to cure her of her ailment, then I will visit her and give her my blood as many times as is necessary. I would gladly give her every last drop of blood in my body. I assure you my father does not want to see two human souls like yourselves torn apart. And neither do I. We should get going. Alright. For the second time, Morgana had another drink of her blood. And for the second time, she was healthy again the next morning. And for the second time, she fell ill again shortly thereafter. Her fever returned. I went to get Morgana, and she gave Nellie her blood. This cycle repeated again and again, and every time I had to watch her go through that ceremony. It was exhausting. I wasn't sure I could handle it at all. I started thinking maybe there wasn't anything sacred about any of this, that it was so blasphemous as it looked from the outside. I was making a girl cut her own wrist and feed my sister her blood. Nothing about that sounded right. But I had nowhere else to go, no one else to ask for help. When I was with Morgana, listening to her words of reassurance, she without fail wiped away all the doubts I had. But it was until she left after that wave of regret hit me. I wasn't sure what was right and wrong anymore. I wasn't sure what to do anymore. Every time I went to see Morgana, it got more and more difficult to look her in the eye. I stopped asking her on walks as often. I stopped trying to have chats with her, not so much out of a sense of guilt, but because I was getting to be afraid of her. One of those draining days, someone knocked on the door. I hadn't asked Morgana to come down that day, so I wasn't sure who it could be. Nellie was asleep in her bed, so I quietly rose from her seat and trying not to wake her. Who is it? Hello, who's there? An inkling of suspicion, but in a sheltered environment. I didn't understand exactly how dangerous it was to thoughtlessly open the door to anyone who came knocking. I pulled the door inward a couple inches and tried to take a peek through the crack. When out of nowhere, someone grabbed my shoulder and shoved me helpless to resist into the house. A man stood there above me. What do you think you're doing? What do you want from me? I don't have anything valuable. I'm just a regular old peasant. I am not here to rob you. You're in contact with the witch, are you not? The girl who lives by the lake calls herself a witch. Witch? I don't know any witch. The only one who lives here is a saint. A saint? I was told she was a witch. But regardless, there's a girl who lives here with miracle blood, no? Ah. Looks like I've got the right person. What do you want from me? I want you to help me. Huh? I need you to lure the witch out into the open. And why do you need that? Because I need her blood. I need to get my hands on the witch's miracle blood. Then go ask for it for yourself. Why should I have to help you? The hero. His costume with the cape does seem kind of heroic though. She won't open the door for me. But you, I've seen her talking to her. You seem quite friendly with the witch. Taking little walks around the lake. How? I need your help. A beast of action. And what are you going to do once you have her outside? I have orders from the Lord to take her captive. The Lord, why would he? That is none of your concern. You expect me to buy that? All I need for you is to get the witch out of the house. Why would I? She doesn't trust me. I could always force my way in, but there's a chance something might go wrong, and I can't risk that. If she hears your voice, she'll open the door, yes. The witch trusts you, unlike me. With your help, there's no risk in anything going wrong. You barge in here and tell me you want to capture her? You think I'm just gonna agree to help? Like hell I will. Oh, don't worry, you'll get your share. You need the witch's blood too, right? I don't care about getting a share. You're asking me to deceive her. I don't care what you think she is. She hasn't done anything wrong. So no, I won't help you capture her. You leave me no choice then. He approached the bed where Nellie slept, drawing his sword and pressing the tip against her throat. It happened so quickly and without any warning, my mind couldn't keep up. I stood there, my mouth half open like an idiot. If I were courageous, if I were gallant and brave, then maybe I would have grabbed him, pulled him away from Nellie. But my legs seemed to be severed from my mind. They were frozen to the floor like two useless rocks. You have two options. Either you say no and protect the witch, get away, or you help me capture her. Get away from her. And if you choose the witch, I kill the girl. Get away. Make your decision. Get away from her. You have until the count of 10. If you don't choose, I kill the girl. 10, 9, 8, 7. 6, 5. Okay, I'll do it. I'll help you. Just get your sword out of her face. Don't kill her. I thought you'd hold out until the last second. What are you waiting for? Well, let's get going. Get moving. You pitiful little boy. I felt like jumping into a lake. I couldn't make sense of how I ended up in such a position. Just a few months earlier, I had been living back in my family's estate, hardly a worry in the world. Nellie had been healthy and happy. It hadn't been exciting, no, but I had figured that was how things would always be. That one day I would fall for some noble girl Nellie would get jealous of, and I would spend several days or even weeks pacifying her. Can we all agree Yukimasa did nothing wrong? Absolutely nothing wrong. Also, as far as reasons go for doing something fucked up, not that bad on Mel's part for now. Everyone be happy, a life free of troubles. Because I was normal and I was normal. So what was I doing living in some tiny cottage so far from home? Feeding my sick sister miracle blood? What was I doing walking beside this barbarian? What was I doing at all? I was conflicted. Part of me hoped we would never arrive at the lake. A part of me wanted to get there as quickly as possible so I could be done with all this. But time plodded on, no quicker or slower than normal. And we arrived at Morgana's door in short order, irrespective of my own selfish hopes. The thought of what was going to happen next filled me with this crushing sense of guilt. I may have been afraid of Morgana, but I had no grudge against her. I was actually quite grateful to her. She was still healing Nellie, even if the ceremony to do so inspired fear in me. She didn't hesitate to cut her own wrist open for Nellie and for me. She didn't grimace or even frown, though I knew it had to hurt. I knew damn well she wasn't a bad person. She hadn't done anything to warrant being taken to custody. She might have very well been a genuine saint. But there I was, selling her out because a man with a sword threatened me. Oh, Father who art in heaven, please forgive me for what I'm about to do. Please forgive me. Quit sniveling. You want her to get suspicious? But you how? I can't, you... Oh God. Stop crying. Or would you rather I kill you here? Just close your eyes. It'll be over before you know it. Do it. Call on the witch. Who's there? It's me. I'm not here about Nellie today. I'm sorry for being so distant lately. I want to talk things over. I thought I heard a faint gasp at the door, and then she responded. I want to talk to you too. Why? Why did she have to want to talk now? She'd always been so curt, so rational, so quick to cut down my fantasies. Never one to get emotional or sentimental. She'd always given off the impression of being something greater than we mere humans. Always been so aloof, never giving any indication he thought anything of me at all. So why? Why does she sound like a normal girl now? Why is her voice trembling slightly when she said she wanted to talk? Why now of all time? Get back. Stay away from me. Don't. Don't kill me. Take it. What? That's your share. Should last you long enough. Why? Why did you take my arm? Why do you mean by shit? Why? It all happened in less than a minute. I told her I wanted to talk. She opened the door. Then I heard a sound like wind whipping past my ear. And the next thing I knew, her cottage was covered in blood. Never once did I expect anything to happen how it did. When he said he wanted to capture her, I took it to mean exactly that. I had thought he would turn brutal. That would do something so horrific. After the man cut her arm off, Morgana tumbled to the floor, floundering about as he watched. Blood trickled down the curved blade in his hand. Give me one moment. I'll be back in a second. So yeah, much like the guys didn't need those fingers, Morgana did not need that arm. Arm. Kneeling in the grass at Lakeshore, I vomited. The things I'd seen in the cabin were far too much for me to handle. I tossed the arm Morgana's arm the mat and had given me into the lake. What else was I supposed to do with it? It was an arm, a human arm. You have to be going insane to going around carrying someone's severed arm. She's shown off her skeletal arm that is cut, and it's explicitly noted her skeleton and her corpse did not have that arm. The warmth of her blood on my fingers dragging me back to reality. My mind couldn't keep up with the flood of thoughts and emotions and images. I wanted to close my eyes, but I was too afraid I would find the bloodbath in the cottage on the back of my eyelids, which left me with nothing to do but wail. I was horrified at what I had done. I knew I was the one who had set it all in motion. If I'd kept quiet, Morgana wouldn't have had her arm cut off. Okay, her new cool skeleton arm is really sick. And, I realized that this chat is full of Yukimasa stands. But it's really fucked up. I did nothing wrong. No, but I did nothing wrong. Right up there with Griffith, huh? Mel. Though honestly, Yukimasa threatened Nelly in his lives, right? He threatened me. It's not my fault. I had no choice. I didn't do anything. I frantically scrubbed my blood-soaked clothes in the lake. As I watched the red cloud spread, I knew I was defiling something pure and beautiful, but my awareness of that fact was slowly dissipated, like the blood through the clear water. By the time I'd gotten all the blood off my clothes, the sun was beginning to set. I came back to my senses at the sound of a bird chirping quickly and recalled that I left Nellie alone at the house. My legs were shaking and I could barely keep myself upright. But remembering her gave me enough motivation to drag myself back home. If she hadn't been there waiting for me, I seriously might have thrown myself into the lake instead. Also, it's so tragic. Morgana was waiting for Mel to come back, and I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ, it's so awful. Mel? What's the matter, dear Mel? Where have you been? Mel? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Will you ever be able to forgive me? Do you ever smell? I never meant for this to happen. I'm so sorry. Please, I'm begging you to forgive me. I'm begging you. Were you not able to get my medicine? Is that what you're crying about? It's not that big a deal, Mel. I'm just fine. Honest. I'm alright. Thanks. I want to forget everything. I want to forget about my involvement, about the horrible things that caused to happen. But whenever I lay down to go to sleep, I heard her screams, Morgana's animalistic howls. I saw her cottage, blood splattered everywhere. I felt her severed arm, still warm in my hands. From that day on, what sleep I got was hardly restful. Nellie probably didn't notice anything through her feverish haze, but I'm willing to bet I looked like hell, praying time would cause the memory to fade. I started looking for doctors again. Instead of clinging to a miracle, I would try to have Nellie's sickness cured the way normal people did. At some point, though, all the money I'd been given started running low. If I had thought about it for 2 seconds, I would have seen it coming. I hadn't been exactly frugal in my attempt to find a cure for Nellie, nor had been especially concerned about money before she fell ill. I was so used to living like an aristocrat, and hadn't succeeded in breaking those old habits, which left me with the only thing I could do for Nellie, be with her day in and out. Every day that passed, I lost a little more hope. If I couldn't do anything and Nellie died, I would be utterly alone. And that was what scared me more than anything. The nightmares were eating me away, leaving me with nowhere to run. And if I didn't have someone there with me, I wouldn't be able to hold myself together. After 3 or so days of me sitting by Nellie's bedside, hardly moving, there's a knock on the door. Who's there? Who is it? Open the door. Unless you want me to kick it down. My suspicion was correct. I couldn't think of anyone else who would come to visit. But what I did know was why he'd come back. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Open the door. Leave me alone, please. I want nothing to do with anything you're doing. Open the door. I'm not letting you in for any reason. Okay then, I'll break it down. Don't. My sister's inside sleeping. I don't need you waking up her. Then open it. What do you need? I did everything you asked me to already. What happened to the witch's arm? I threw it away. I threw it away. You really think I was going to keep that? A person's arm? Mel, what's going on? Do we have a visitor? Nellie, I should get them something to drink. I should get them something to drink. Don't worry about it now. You should get some sleep, alright? Can we go outside? I'd really rather not talk to you. Fine by me. So that's your sister, explains why you look so much alike. That's none of your damn business. You wanted the miracle blood to cure your sick sister, did you not? And you're telling me you threw the arm away? Are you interested in getting more blood? What? We're taking the witch's blood, turning it into medicine, and selling it through the church. Selling it? You're doing business in a house of worship? No, I suppose we're technically giving it away. But we're asking for tithes, so it's really the same thing. Based Yukimasa, I guess. I'm not from this land, so to me it looks no different than a business, but the people here, they see it as charity. The Lord says if you assist us, he'll provide you with medicine we're making. The Lord? Why would the Lord be? Hell if I know. Because it seems like good money. So will you help us? You're gonna make me get my hands dirty for you again? I can't, not again. Oh right, I forgot to mention one detail. You don't have a choice this time. Huh? You know about the miracle blood, which means we can't let you go unattended. Yeah, and Martin Luther punished all 57 whatever reasons to fuck the church. I actually forget the actual number. Indulgences are super wild though. Here, if you give us some money and to donate to the church, you'll get some free sins. It's all right. If you say no, I have permission for the Lord to kill you on the spot. Why? So will you help us? Or will you die here? What was the right thing for me to do then? Should I have fought back and died? Should I have tried to run? Should I have taken my own life? I'm sure you've heard enough to know by now that I'm a weakling, a pushover. I didn't have the spine to do anything but agree to meet with the Lord. He told me about the mansion, and he gave me one of a set of 3 keys. I wanted so badly to get rid of the key. But with that man's shadow constantly hanging over me, I couldn't bring myself to. Like, we can't blame Mel for doing the things Mel did, but it's one of those situations where it's like constantly taking the correct option, the easy option, what'll work and what'll get you to survive, just leads to everything getting so much worse for everyone. Like, people in general, we need to look out for more than just our immediate well-being. But we really can't ask people more than just, their own survival. Now, when I could be the next one to end up losing a limb or 2, there was no way I could have disobeyed. And that's everything that happened 6 months ago. Every day since I arrived here, I've brought Morgana breakfast and supper. He didn't know, but he was afraid. He was afraid of Nellie dying. He was afraid of himself dying. I never looked her in the eye. She doesn't say anything, but I saw it in her eyes the first time I stepped through the door. How could you do that to me? I never looked her in the eye since, because I'm too afraid of what I might see now. That's how I ended up here. So he was threatened. He didn't actually want to cause me harm. That doesn't excuse what he's done, though. See, what did I tell you? I'm not at all the brother you thought I was. Mock me, ridicule me, call me worthless, a coward, a terrible person. Go on, what are you waiting for? But you were threatened, Mel. He said he would hurt me, hurt you. That's the only reason you went along with him. You didn't do anything wrong to yourself. And Nellie also, and that Mel did nothing wrong to him. The other man is the bad guy, not you. You did the best you could. You didn't have a choice. The terrible man forced you to do everything. Nellie, you didn't do anything wrong to yourself. No, I didn't. I didn't do anything wrong. I had no other choice. That's not true. All you're doing is closing your eyes. You mustn't coddle yourself. What was I supposed to do then? Don't be mean to my Mel. Did you really do the best you could? Did you even once try to do something about the situation as hopeless as it may have seemed? Especially afterwards, when he's like completely resigned to his fate, taking the easy way out now. And even once an opportunity appears with Michelle, he would have chosen to inform the guards. Especially when he was being threatened at first. There was nothing he could have done. There was no way he could have gotten out of the situation. But afterwards, he won't even make an attempt now that this is the new status quo. Could you not even conceive of any other options? Could you not have come up with something else to say at Morgana's house? Something that might have given her slightest clue she was in danger. But when she opened the door, did you do anything? And Michelle, who knows Morgana, who knows her suffering, hates him. Did he even do so much as attempt to stop him? My legs were shaking so bad I couldn't move. There was no way I could have stopped him. And you know what the best part of another little thing is? Mal is the whole deal is feeling powerless and adrift. Can't even decide what he wants to do with his life in the first door. And Michelle, who also can't do anything, has no other options. The whole deal with Giselle at the end. He feels like Mel is much closer to than him than he would ever admit. And he's a very different person. He is best boy and we love him. But yeah, You should have stayed and told her the truth. That you weren't there willingly. Maybe she wouldn't have felt so utterly betrayed. But he was there. You think I could have actually stayed there with him? Not a chance. It's not like Morgana worked. She opened the door because she trusted you. She isn't the easiest person to read, but she was opening up to you. And what did you do with that trust? Stop it. Please, you made your point. It's not at all Mel's fault either. If anything, he's a victim. He's just trying to protect me. Were you listening to anything he said, Nellie? You were not Mel's first priority. He did what he did for his own sake. Well, what did you expect me to do? Pull courage I don't have out of thin air. What's so wrong with self-preservation? There was nothing I could have done to stop him. I'd love to see you try and do any better. Then maybe you'll understand how scared I was, how little I could have done. It must have been nice to be an outsider, to talk about my experiences like you know anything, and analyze my decisions going about what I should have done. You don't have a damn clue about how terrifying it all was. How I feel having to go through it. Oh yeah, you're right, it sure would have been a courageous thing to do, sacrifice your life for someone else. But you know what? People like that only exist in stories. Except you don't actually understand that. You just want to give me crap for not being perfect. Do you want my pity? Is that all you want? If I tell you I feel bad for you and oh how hard it must have been, will that satisfy you? Do you not want to know what you can do now? What's even left to do? Nothing I do is going to make her situation any better. It will make her arm come back. All is not to get lost. Open your eyes, take a good long look inside yourself. Think about what you can do. Stop sitting in your hands telling yourself it's too late. There's still time to make a difference. You just have to commit it to action. I don't think you're an especially bad or cowardly person. I think you're an ordinary man. It may sound like I'm telling you to do the impossible. But soon the time will come when you must make your choice. When you must stand up and take some responsibility for what you've done. No one's childhood lasts forever. The good days are long behind you before you ever realize they've passed. When faced with the consequences of your actions, you should not have turned and run, but held yourself accountable. It's perhaps a disproportionately large burden for you to bear, but it's fast approaching, and you need to make a decision. Find your courage. Set Morgana free. Mel. But even if I open the door for her, it's a little too late. She'll never forgive me after. Is her forgiveness the reason you should act? No, it's penance for what you've done to her. Atonement for your sins. Whether she forgives you or not is beside the point. The question on the table right now is whether you're going to do the right thing. And what about her blood? Without Saint's blood, Nellie won't. You don't have to worry about me, dear Snow. My life isn't so important that I want to take someone else's away to keep it. I'll think about what I can do to help too. It's partially my fault after all. So please, Mel, set the Saints free. Your quiet life is built on a foundation of lies. And I know that by now. You realize there's no real value in a life like that. You wanted to do something about this. You sought salvation. Salvation? But who would give it to me? I already told you I would. But why? Because I promised you. And you expect me to believe that? Yes. You chose to sit here and wallow in your regret. There's no going back. Now's your only chance to make a change. Mel. Alright. I'll help you set her free. Dearest Mel, I knew all along that that's what I needed to do. But I could never bring myself to act on it. There's no way I could accomplish anything. I'm basically helpless on my own. Everything about this is so completely outside of anything I've ever had to deal with before. So I had no way of having any idea of what I was supposed to do about it. Well, it can be pretty cruel. Why would he force a boy like me to make such a difficult choice? Yes, he can be. You're made to be part of a more normal, less tumultuous world. But you've come too far to go back to that. So the least you can do is change the world you're in now. Yeah, I doubt I need to remind you, but you know, you can't get in with only my key. You need all three and the other two. They don't feel an ounce of remorse. Taking their keys won't be easy. Easy or not, we have to get them. And I'm sure there's a way, there must be. Just so we're clear, you're not going to overpower them. The guy with the sword's much stronger than you. He knows how to use a blade. And he's the Lord's bodyguard, so you're not getting near the Lord either. Even the two of us together wouldn't stand a chance against him. You seem pretty weak from the looks of you. Who knows, maybe I am strong. God, I really do want to hit this boy. Deep breaths, Michelle? Deep breaths? There must be some way we can get their keys. I know they both have people they're close to. People they're close to. We can talk about that later. Now that you made your decision, talking with me isn't your top priorities. Mel, Nellie, I'm sorry for involving you in all this. And I'm really sorry for being, well, what I am. I'm no prince, that's for sure. You always were my prince, left yourself. You did your best to be the brother I wanted you to be. Honestly, I adored the way you fell in love with me. And all the affection just felt so good. What? It made me feel like I was special, important. Having someone to care for, to pamper, it was empowering. That's the kind of guy your brother is. If someone else, some other girl would ever show up and call me her prince, say she loved me, I would probably try and act like a prince for her too. Why would you say that? Because all this has been so on me, such a huge weight on my shoulder, that every so often I would think just how much easier it would be if I could get rid of her. If Morgana was just a regular girl, not a saint or a witch or any of that. She's a pretty girl about my age, she might have been the one getting all my attention instead of you. That's who I am. That's not you, dear Smell, you're just beating yourself up. Maybe you would have chosen to hurt me, but that wouldn't make you any less of a kind. How can you say that after everything I've just told you? Because Mel, tell me how despicable I am, Nellie. I'm not the brother you once adored anymore, Emma. You're not what I thought you were. But you're still my one and only brother. That's what will never change no matter what kind of person you become. It was wrong of me in trying to make you my prince. Well, I should have done my job as your one and only sister in the whole wide world. Been there to help you as much as you helped me. I kept pushing my fairy tale fantasies on you. And you did your best to live up to them, and I ended up forcing you to pretend to be someone you're not. That's not true, Nellie. I enjoyed feeling idolized. But you knew it couldn't last forever, didn't you? I should have been beside you, not looking up at you. I let you call to me and let myself indulge in your love. I thought everything would be alright as long as you kept telling me how adorable I was. They were like magic words to me. I kept my eyes shut. Now, starting today, I'm doing my best to be your sister. I'm done holding to you to fairy tale ideas. I will make you pretend to be a prince for me anymore. I won't try to be your princess either. I'm just gonna be your little sister. Just get back on your feet and stand tall to yourself. I know you'll probably have to pay for what you've done when the Saintess goes free. Up? Well, I don't know what to say. I wasn't expecting you to handle this so maturely. Why is this coming on right now? I hope this isn't the precursor to something worse. You're putting your big brother to shame, Nellie. Mother once told me girls grow up faster than boys. She was right about that. Thank you, Nellie, for accepting me. In spite of all the awful things I've done. And for having me as your brother. You're quite welcome, dear Smell. And that's where we're gonna leave it off for tonight. So, any opinions? Anything anyone wants to talk about before we do another raid. The Terrible Time streams are good, and we're definitely gonna have more of them with my taste begins. Yeah, and it's all interconnected between every single one and their relationships with their other characters. It's actually incredible. Thank you too, especially for always staying here and chatting. It makes streaming so much more fun. All right, I'm gonna be sending you off to watch some Goofy Souls. As soon as I about Sass's name. Yeah. Anyway, love you all and have a good night. Oh, okay. See you, Mosca. Good night, everyone. Alright. And thank you to all of you watching on YouTube, even if there's only one. Thank you so much. I hope everything works out for you.